Brother B.A. Ben Abraham, and I'm your host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk for You platform. The objective is for all brothers from different walks of life to come together, link up, and build on matters concerning all various stages of life. If anyone would like to reach out on concepts and ideas, you can reach Brother B.A. at radicalrhyme1984 at gmail.com. Again, radicalrhyme1984 at gmail.com. Tap in. Let's build. Shalom. Shalom.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk for You Radio.
Yes, this is Brother B.A. Ben Abraham out of Sacramento, California, and you're now in tune listening to the Debate Talk for You, the Man Up segment. And tonight is a special night this evening. We got the brother Josh from the Absolute Bible Truth, and we have another brother from Buffalo, New York by the name of Judy Emil. And tonight's topic is going to be brotherhood and fellowship. Again, brotherhood and fellowship. And the reason why I decided to talk about this topic, reason being, I noticed there's a lot of improvement in the so-called Hebrew Israelite community and the Christian community as well. I see big improvements, but there's always room for improvement. So I decided to get Judah and Brother Josh together so we can most definitely hear what they have noticed over the last couple of years and even currently to this day. And Sal, let's get on with the show.
All right, family. Once again, this is the Man Up segment right here on Debate Talk for You Radio. We appreciate the family out there that's tuning in via phone and via Skype. Down in that number 319-527-6239. The Man Up segment is hosted by Brother B.A. And we appreciate the brother for hosting this platform, this particular segment. Let's get on with the show, brother. Everybody's here. Let's introduce the special guest. Let's go to Brother Judah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation to come out to the show, and good talking with you, brothers. I haven't spoken with any of you in quite some time, so it's good hearing from you all. And again, I appreciate it, and we'll see what we can get accomplished this evening.
All right, Brother Judah, well, welcome back. As always, love. We appreciate you coming on the platform. Our Brother B.A., you want to say anything? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to say I've gotten a chance to know Judah over the last couple of years, and he's a brother of mine. I also consider him a teacher, and I thank him for coming out and wanting to expound and share with us. I know he has a busy schedule out there in Buffalo, working with the community and teaching and bringing out the gospel. So most definitely, my brother, much love to you, and I appreciate you.
Same here, brother. I appreciate it. Again, I appreciate the invitation. Question.
Most definitely.
Oh, yeah. All right, so that's Brother Judah right here on Debate Talk for You Radio. And my next special guest from Absolute Bible Truth, Brother Josh. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, fam. Shabbat Shalom, B.A. Barakis, and Shabbat Shalom, Brother Judah, and Shabbat Shalom, of course, the Debate Talk for You audience. Let me just say first that I feel honored and privileged to be able to do this show with Brother Judah. I just got to say that I've always been like a personal fan of Brother Judah and his teachings and his style of teaching. He's my favorite teacher, you know what I mean? I've never had the opportunity to really just express this because I guess you could just say it never came up. But I consider him to be my favorite teacher, period. You know what I'm saying? Of everybody who I've ever saw. I've never actually sat under the brother, but I like to believe that if I wasn't doing my own thing, I'd more than likely be studying under him because I have that much respect for him. And like I said, it's like my favorite teacher. I expressed this to Zadok before. I don't know if Zadok ever relayed this back to him, but I consider this brother to be one of the most stand-up, straightforward, and powerful teachers, which is why I believe Brother B.A. felt it would be beneficial that the two of us do a segment together. So, again, I'd just like to first just state that I feel honored and privileged to be able to even be sharing the segment with the brother. And like you said, I hope that we can go ahead and accomplish something tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. And let me just say, over the last couple of years, I've gotten to know Josh as well. I participated in some of the classes at the ABT, and I thank the Most High for brothers like Josh and Judah. I consider these, not only are these individuals or these two men or brothers of mine, I consider them as teachers. I've learned and I've gleaned a lot from their teachings. I've learned a lot. And I picked these two because, as far as what I see, when it comes to brothers who are teaching along with Zadok and a few others, which is not that many, compared to the other group of Israelites, I see a cycle of the same core of teachings going around every so often. And when it comes to the brothers at the Knesset of Yeshua in Buffalo, when it comes to the Absolute Bible Truth and a few others, they know who they are. They are the only ones who are constantly bringing out brand new information, and they are Bible-based. They bring truth coming straight out the Bible, and their teachings are not bound by doctrine. Again, their teachings are not bound by doctrine. And I tend to notice that when it comes to the other camps, no disrespect to those who are teaching, because I believe that it's a powerful thing to teach, but I'm starting to notice over the last couple of years exactly that the same core and cycle of teachings are going on, and when it comes to Judah and Josh and Zadok and a few others, they are the only ones, from what I see, who are on point, who are consistent with bringing brand new information week after week, and to me that stands out and it speaks volumes. Before we get into the conversation, does anybody else want to bring anything up before we get going? Or before we get started, rather?
Yeah, I do. And I would like to say to you both, and Josh, it's definitely humbling to hear you brothers say that. And it's not enough words to express my appreciation that you all had the, that you all felt that to put that out there, to say that. I don't necessarily put myself in certain positions on a pedestal. I consider myself a student, searching and trying to find out the truth. It was definitely humbling to hear that. And I will add, as Josh said, that the opportunity never arose for us to say different things, and that's true. I would like to say on my end as well that I think Josh is a powerful teacher. He's an intelligent young brother. Well, he's getting old now. He's an intelligent brother. Got some strong teachings, and I hear him out there battling on for the Messiah, for the Christ. And I'm with you, brother. Even though I don't say anything, I know we were supposed to team up before to get at some of these guys, and their different doctrines. And most high willing, we will be able to do that. But you definitely have our support down here. We appreciate the work you're doing as well. And also UBA holding it down there in California. So, again, may the Most High bless y'all, brothers, and y'all understanding. And you too, Sal, open up the platform. Definitely much appreciated, and Most High willing, maybe, I'll be able to spend more time in discussing and hooking up with you, brothers. So, again, much appreciated for the love that y'all put out there tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Judah. Appreciate that. And most definitely, just know in the future, if any of you brothers want to come back to the platform, you guys have an open invitation. You just let me know ahead of time, and the platform is yours. I consider you brothers to be sound in your teachings. Like I said, I've learned a lot from you brothers, and it most definitely is humbling for me to be on this platform right now with you two. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't even, just me moderating and me just hosting, sometimes I feel like I'm not even worthy enough, because I really believe that you brothers are sent, that the Spirit of the Most High is upon you, and the way you rock for the Messiah is most definitely humbling for me. But let's get it. But before I go any further, Josh, you want to say something else, or we want to get started?
We can go ahead and get started. I'm just looking forward to getting into this thing.
All right, my brother, most def. Okay, now when it comes to brotherhood, I took it at liberty to look up the definition in the Webster's Encyclopedic Unabridged Dictionary of the English Language. And it was an interesting definition, and it reads, the condition or quality of being a brother or brothers. The quality of being brotherly fellowship. A fraternity or trade organization, all those engaged in a particular trade, the belief that all men should act brotherly towards one another, regardless of differences in race, creed, nationality, etc. Now, when it comes to you two brothers, including myself, we're known in the Hebrew Israelite community. Now, when it comes to you two as individuals, when it comes to brotherhood, do you see this type of conduct amongst the brothers? And let me read the last definition so we can most definitely bring some clarity. The fifth definition says the belief that all men should act brotherly towards one another, regardless of differences in race, creed, or nationality. Do we see this amongst the Hebrew Israelite way of thought, or do we see a lack of it, or do we see more of it? What are your thoughts? Let's start off with Brother Josh.
Okay, thank you for that too, Brother BA. Well, that's a relative question, but it depends on the specific organization, because, people will say there's brotherhood among, I'm just going to throw out ISUPK. I see brotherhood and brotherly love among that organization. I don't see like them fighting each other within that organization or on the surface. So if you ask, do I see brotherhood among the Hebrew Israelites, then that's actually a yes and no question, because among the specific organizations, yeah, no doubt. At least that's what it appears to be. But overall, the different organizations, for the most part, no, because people have turned the Bible into like a beef, like a rap battle or a gang war or something like that. So, people usually have the mindset that if you're not under the umbrella of a specific organization, then that gives you license to go out on the attack of that organization. So when I look at these Hebrew Israelite organizations, I've seen videos with ISUPK fighting against GMS in the street. Almost literally escalated to a literal fight in the street. And I see people, like, when they see somebody with a different view or a different opinion, the first inclination is to bang on them. And I told my people a long time ago, I don't even like to use that terminology, like banging on somebody, because that's a gang terminology. And I don't mean gang as in group. I mean gang like in Crips and Bloods and Vice Lords and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That kind of terminology. And we talk about brotherhood. Now, I just want to just reference this from 1 Peter 2:17. It says, honor all men. That means like respect all men. And then it says, love the brotherhood. Now, I want to emphasize that because it don't say love a brotherhood, because as we know, the Mashiach did not set up a specific organization. He did not set up ABT. He did not set up KOJ. These are just labels we came up with so people can identify who we are. But ultimately, when he said love the brotherhood, that don't just mean people from ABT. That's supposed to encompass, from our perspective, ABTs, KOJ people, ISUPK people, GMS people. They are supposed to be part of the brotherhood. Now, that don't mean we're not supposed to rebuke them when we see them in error or what we think is error, but we're supposed to love the brotherhood and everything that coincides with the brotherhood, which is like respect, love, generosity. When you love a brotherhood, like I consider this, even Debate Talk for You, Sal Showtime, I consider that to be a part of the brotherhood and everything that comes with a brotherhood. So just to sum it all up, no, I don't see it among the different camps. I do see it, at least on the surface, among the camps itself. Like it's with KOJ, I don't see any dissension among them. It seems like Judah generally loves Zadok and the rest of his people and vice versa, and I'm pretty sure he'll say the same thing about me. But as far as like overall, these different camps, different organizations, no, it's not existent. It's non-existent. But that's it.
Thank you, Brother Josh. And Judah, same question.
So, much will agree with what Brother Josh have put down on the table. And as he was going through it, I think of the Messiah teaching his students, and letting them know what good is if you just salute your people in your own little group. And that's what I do see. I see a lot of, he took the words right out my mouth. They have turned it into like at least on YouTube, when I surf YouTube, they have turned it into like, for lack of better words, to fit the setting, like gang and hood drama. And I see a lot of dissension as groups break up. I'm subscribed to some groups, to some Israelite pages. And so therefore, whatever is, in relation or close to Israelite teachings, you have other videos pop up. And I see videos popping up of a guy leaving this and going back and talking about the dissension. Like, for example, you all may heard of it, the Nathaniel group, Israel United in Christ. And you have people breaking off and arguing and I think they have turned it into a gang. The reality of the Jesus movement, I think they don't really grasp what Jesus of Nazareth or Yeshua HaMashiach was bringing to the table. And it's like a bunch of sensual knowledge that they have gathered. And they are, pretty much one another apart. And that's what I see. I don't really see it as a whole. But true, in their individual groups, I would say, like Josh gave the example of the ISUPK, I never really heard any backdraft of them men. They seem to be in order, but, they just in their own little sector group. But they throw shots out at other groups saying, if you're not a part of this group, then you're not in the truth. I think it is a lot of confusion and separation within the community as a whole. And one thing I want to add to that is that when we say the brotherhood, I understand that to mean not just males, but also females. They are part of the brotherhood. And I recall, people will ask, well, where you get that from, brother? Well, it's how I take a passage in Deuteronomy when they was talking about the year of release. They made mention of if a Hebrew manservant or a Hebrew maidservant, they was making reference to them both, and they called them both together brother. If you want me to pull a text up, I can. But it identified the woman as brother too. And what I find is that even among the women inside of the Hebrew Israelite community, they get the bad end of the deal, I think, and a lot of Western interpretation of things causes them to be in this position of domestic slavery, and all of that together, it's creating this culture of dissension, hostility towards one another. So I think it's something that really needs to be addressed and getting down to the core of it and finding out how things could get straightened out. Because the Messiah said that the love that we have towards one another will be the proof that we are his disciples, So that's all I have to say on that for now.
Man, thank you, Judah. Those are some powerful points. I want to read in Mark chapter 9. And we're going to pick it up at verse 38. And I'm reading from a interlinear Greek version, and it reads, John said to him, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he was not following us. But the Messiah said, Do not stop him, for no one who does a deed of power in my name will be able to. Let me read that one more time. Do not stop him, For no one who does a deed of power in my name will be able soon afterward to speak evil of me. Whoever is not against us is for us. For truly I tell you, whoever gives you a cup of water to drink because you bear the name of Christ will by no means lose the reward. And one thing I noticed personally is that I tend to see, and this is just me personally, I see a lot of brothers come in the name of Christ, and they are bringing the truth, and they're bringing the message and the teachings of Christ. But I tend to notice that, like you guys were saying, that you have various individuals who tend to always make it a point to have disagreements against other people who may have a slight difference of opinion or whatever it may be. But as you can see, Christ told the disciples, if there's other people preaching in my name, casting out demons, they're for us. They don't have to be literally under us, but they're casting demons out of my name, and they are bound by the Spirit of the Most High. So I do agree with you guys on that. And one thing that Judah brought up, love. This is something that over the years, that love is something I'm still learning as a young man. I'm still learning how to love. I'm still understanding that love is deeper than just gushy, kissy, kissy type stuff. It's deeper. So why, and what I tend to notice is that I see stints of love in the community, whether we be Christians or Hebrews or whatever we personify ourselves to be. But what is the true core and definition of love? And Christ said himself, he gave a commandment. He said to love one another as I have loved you. So when it comes to love, what is it overall according to how the Most High called it in Christ? Let's start with you, Judah.
Well, the answer that you will probably get in general is love is keeping the Almighty commandments. And that is partly the truth. The reason why I say partly before people get on edge is because you have to really be specific, because you can keep the commandments by the letter. And the Apostle Paul said the letter killeth, but the Spirit, that's what makes alive. So when you say keeping the commandments is love, that can be sort of misleading because, again, you can do it by the letter. We're talking about a change of consciousness, a change in the very fabric of an individual. And, yes, it is keeping the commandments, but it is more than just the keeping of it. It is the heart, the total change consciousness of the individual. And that change of consciousness and that awareness and that, as he would say, that changing of the heart from a stony heart to a heart of flesh, where we will love one another not just as we love ourselves, but here in the book of John, he sort of, well, not sort of, but he set a standard here for us that we can't get out of. And it's John chapter 14. A lot of people quote, he said, if you love me, then keep my commandments. But if we go to 15, he actually began to explain what that is. And we don't really necessarily understand that to be the Sabbath day, even though he said observe it. But this was a different conversation. This was a conversation about fraternal love, because they're going to need it in order to survive inside of a beastly system. And in John chapter 15, St. John chapter 15, he says, verse 10, if ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. So when we get into exactly what he's talking about this change of consciousness. And he said, this is my commandment, that ye love one another as he have loved us. And the love that he had towards us according to in the same chapter, is the love that the Father had towards him. So the same love that the Messiah had from the Father, or has the Father loved the Messiah, this is how he loved his students, his saints, if you will. And this was the standard that was set, that we have to love one another that same way. So I do think when we're talking about that, when we saying the commandments, I really want to go deeper into that. Like, look, man, we're talking about total change of heart, where as you love yourself, even more than that, as the Father loved the Christ, this is how we ought to love one another. So this is where I stand on that. This is the understanding that I have on that. And I believe this is very much necessary in order for us to survive. And, in fact, it's required, because he said if we don't have this manner of love, then we're none of his. So I'll turn it over to the host again. Matt.
And just before we get to Josh, just one thing I would like to add. Thanks again, Judah. Some powerful words. When it comes to the law or the commandments, we tend to forget, even as Hebrews, this is something that I don't see, and I'm guilty of this myself, is when we use the commandments to cut people's head off, of course no one's going to want to keep them. But we tend to forget that love is also commanded, it's in the law. And this is what I tend to notice amongst a lot of brothers who call themselves by the name of Israel, is that I don't see love. When you're using a law to always cut people's heads off, of course people are going to reject it and not want to keep it. And with that, I'm going to let Josh, I'm going to fall back, and I'm going to let Brother Josh go ahead and expound. Same question, my brother. Go ahead.
Praise God, Brother B.A. And praise God, too, Brother Judah. It's amazing, because I agree with everything you said exactly the way you said it. It's just amazing that somebody can believe something the same way you do and express it totally different. So I'm just amazed by that. But, yes, love is an action word, right? Now, I just want to read this from Galatians 6:10. This is what Paul says. As we have, therefore, opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith, meaning people who are fellow believers, or in other words, people who are members of the brotherhood, which, as Judah pointed out, and I'm glad he did, means the sisters too. A better word, in my opinion, would be, instead of brotherhood, in this particular context, family. Because that's all that's talking about. When you use terms like brother, sister, that's family. That's why when people become believers, they address each other as brother this or sister that. And we don't just loosely throw these things around. They are supposed to have real meaning. We're supposed to love each other like family. And that's why we are called the children of God. And that's why God is called our Father, because it's supposed to become a family. And families fight sometimes, but families are not supposed to fight. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. But any real family will tell you at the end of the day, we're supposed to walk away still loving each other. You don't supposed to be any permanent hatred. When I was growing up, I got into arguments and fights with my brothers and with my sisters. But today, anybody ask me, I love my brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm still mad at what Big Baby did to me when we were 12. You know what I'm saying? And I was 13. That's not how we're supposed to be. And I want to go to Galatians 6:10 because it says, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. We are supposed to try to do good, which means show brotherly love to all men, just especially when it comes to fellow believers. So brotherhood, the brotherhood and the love thereof is supposed to extend beyond just people who consider themselves Hebrew Israelites or who practice Torah law or who are Messianic. My love and ABT's love extend to everybody, even people who are Tanakh only. I don't hate these people. I know some of them act like they hate me, But I don't hate these people. I don't hate Muslims. You know, Raheem Ali will tell you every time we talk, I'm always pleasant with that brother. I'm always courteous with him. I never disrespect him because we're supposed to try to do good to all men, and we're messing up so badly, we're not even doing good to them who are of the household of faith. Now, somebody might say, well, they don't believe the same thing we believe. We believe they teaching wrong. We believe they are in error. Well, unless you believe that somebody is deliberately perverting Scripture, then you're supposed to approach them in a more loving manner. You're not supposed to go trying to cut their heads off. You're supposed to come to them like, yo, I heard you say this in the class. This is my understanding on that. You know, if you think that they're just in error, because all of us come from an ignorant state of mind. You know, we get in this thing and we act like we've been in our whole lives. You know, like you were saying, VA, you know, we want to cut people's head off with the law. And that makes people reject it. They don't want to do it. They don't want to follow it, right? But this is all coming from somebody wielding a sword who themselves are only a year into the so-called truth. Like you got these people, they stand on the corner and they like to go upside people's heads, metaphorically, because they don't understand that Christmas is a pagan holiday or that they're supposed to be keeping the Old Testament law or that they're not supposed to be eating certain things. We go upside their head like, look at you. You still eating that nasty pork. Dude, you were just eating pork 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? Just 6 months ago, you were doing this, and you standing on the corner, you know, criticizing people as if you were born and doing this your whole life. And even if you were born into this, because some people were, that still doesn't give you the right to operate like that. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong to be firm, because sometimes you have to be firm. But a lot of us come on the scene, and it's a turnoff, because first thing they want to do is get on social media or go on the street corners and start sometimes literally cursing people out because they're not doing something that you yourself are doing but only been doing for a few months. I've seen people even admit in the video. They be on video, yeah, man, I just got into this last year. But earlier in the same video, people walking past on the corner and you're going off on women because they got weave in their hair or because they're wearing a short skirt. You just singling out people and like, oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. Look at you down this short skirt, cursing people out. That is not how the Old Testament or the New Testament tells us to operate in love. We're supposed to do good unto all men. We're not supposed to get on here and say, oh, the Tanakh only Hebrews are not of the household of faith. Therefore, let's attack them. Let's be brutal against them. Yes, from a messianic perspective, they are not of the household of faith. It just simply means they don't believe in Jesus. And that's who our faith is in, or Yeshua, whatever name you want to use, right? But we're still supposed to operate with them in love. And what's happened is the Hebrew community, the black Hebrew community, is just infested with this mean-spiritedness about the word, just this anger, and I'm not saying it's not okay to be angry. If you see a lot of falsehood and idolatry, yes, it's supposed to vex you, but we don't know how to properly channel that anger. What we want to do is single people out. We see somebody on YouTube, right, and they don't agree with what we're teaching, or it's something different than what they're teaching. And you and BA know this, and Judah know this. Some of these differences be so minor to the point of not really mattering in the grand scheme of things. You follow what I'm saying? And the first thing we want to do is make a video attacking that person. That's the first inclination. Not, hey, brother, let me reach out to you behind the scenes first. You said this, you said that, and this is my understanding of that. And even if you leave with a disagreement still after all of that, there's no reason to resort to going after somebody. You can just put your information out there and let it be done. You follow what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, unless somebody is deliberately deceiving people, you believe that, like somebody on the scene saying something like, oh, the Bible is myth, or the Bible is fake, or the Bible is garbage, then, yeah, me personally, I will put that person's name out there, and I will just point out the stuff that they're saying that is wrong. I'm not going to make it personal. I'm not going to make it about me and them. It's about truth and not truth, because what happens is we tend to pour a little bit too much emotion into this. And I don't mean emotion in the sense of being passionate or being energetic about your faith, but I mean it gets personal. And I'm glad we're doing this on Debate Talk for You, because Debate Talk for You is a perfect example of how people take disagreement and turn them into personal beef, personal, animosity. Well, Judah and the KOJ, they don't agree with Brother Josh about how you're supposed to wear fringes. Not if we should wear them at all or not, because we both teach you should wear them. But they don't agree, and I'm not saying we got to disagree. We never actually talked about that. I'm just throwing this out here as an example. But I'd be like, well, they don't agree with how we say you're supposed to wear fringes, so they finna get a whole video, and I'm finna go after them, blah, 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 when I could just contact Judah or Zadok and be like, why do y'all think that way, blah, blah, blah. And if I still don't agree after the explanation, we're supposed to still walk away loving each other, because I don't think that Judah is doing what he's doing to deceive people. Even if he's wrong about something, even if I'm wrong about something, I don't think that this brother is out here trying to deliberately mislead people. And that is the attitude we take when we disagree with somebody. We want to make them out to deliberately deceive people. That's what we want to do. Oh, he don't agree with this, so let me get on social media, call him a liar, call him a serpent, call him a snake, just call him all kinds of names, when it's just a matter of this is the way he understands this. This is the way you understand that. You're not a bad person because you understand something differently from somebody else. That may be the understanding that they actually have. But what we want to do, this is this spirit, this angry spirit among the black Hebrews. What we want to do is make everybody evil just because they hold a different point of view. And that's the real reason of why there's so much animosity. Not the only reason, but that's the core. But that's all I got to say about that for now.
Man, thanks, brother. I appreciate the words. And there's something you touched on, Josh. You said this is something that we've all experienced from time to time and over the years. We tend to notice that you got people who have come out into this walk, or I'm a Hebrew and I'm this and I'm that, and these many titles. But we tend to notice that they haven't been teaching very long, or they haven't been in the faith or the walk very long, and within less than a year, they're already teaching. And even in Christendom, one thing I will admit to this, and I was raised a Baptist, but this is one thing I will even admit that I have witnessed. I know personally that before anybody, it's common in Christendom, that before anyone gets called to preach, there was a time frame or some type of limit of time before the brother or the sister, whoever it may be, was allowed to go into the pulpit and start preaching or teaching. But it seems like in Israel, we have an overabundance of teachers coming out of nowhere. Why is it that we tend to see this in the Hebrew Israelite community? As soon as someone comes into the faith or comes into the truth, 6 months or less than a year later, they're already teaching. Why is this a constant trend? And before you guys answer, I know me, I'm not a full-time teacher. Teaching is something that I still have to fight within myself. I try to find ways to get out of it, but there comes a time to where once in a while I may have to teach. And I don't profess to know everything. I'm not this guy with all the knowledge in the world. I am a student. I tell people that from the gate. I'm not a teacher. I am a student, and I just like to share things that I have studied, and I like to expound with others. But back to the question, and let's start with Judah. Why do we have an overabundance of teachers within Israel? Go ahead, Judah.
That's interesting. I come from the old school. When I started learning this stuff, internet didn't exist to me. As far as it was around, I didn't know nothing about it. we had to do things, and that's just the way I come up. It's still through a book, still testing your patience. It's still, you got to read through chapters and volumes before you could find a nugget of an answer, building of a character. I'm saying all that to say is that the information coming too fast. And the internet and YouTube and every other type of social media out there, what happens is that the floodgates open up. And the Messiah was explaining to his students that he said, there's many things I got to tell you, but you can't bear it at the moment. And so showing us this process of learning, and we talk about this at the class often, is that you have so many people coming out now because they have been flooded with so much information. And, you know, the Apostle Saul or the Apostle Paul said, knowledge puffeth up. And I think that they have got 3 months in, a year in. I hear the same thing, that both of you brothers are actually putting on the table. Cat been around for a year. You know, he been around for 2 years, and he full of. He ready to go do videos. He ready to jump on people and set everybody straight. And I think it's because of the information is just all these sound bites of information is just at touch of a button. So years ago, when it took, it probably took a couple of years to even lay down an understanding of a certain doctrine or scriptures, or now through soundbite, I can relay that information. Let's say something I've been studying for the last 5 years. I could probably relay that information in a quick soundbite in 40 minutes. And but just again, it's a soundbite. It's still just part of it, so you can get the knowledge of it, but not necessarily the understanding per se. And I think that's what you have now. A lot of stuff hitting the table, where these guys getting it, they feeling puffed up, they feel they can teach. And I think they're missing a valuable part, that is time, patience, the building of character. All of this comes along with really sitting under a teacher, and really, taking that time out. But I don't think they have that now. Click of a button, this person don't like what this person's saying, click it right away, jump to some other information, and everything's so fast. As one of the young guys at our class say, he come out of a mix and stir generation, you know what I mean, where everything is quick. And I think that's why you have a lot of people coming out, and you could see you have a high quantity of people who think they're teachers, but the quality is lacking. Because, they missing the important parts of even becoming a teacher, you know what I mean? So I think it's the floodgates of information out there, man, and it's too much information going out, and people sucking it in, and that's causing them to run out too fast. But I am interested to hear what others have to say about that.
Hey, Judah, that guy you were just mentioning, is that Garvey who says that? You was talking about, is that Garvey?
Yeah, he'd come over, he'd sit down, and he'd talk and conversate. He said, man, I come from that mixed and third generation, man. That, that tickled me a little bit hearing him say that. But, in essence, man, that's what you have out here, man. Everything quick, man. People running out too fast.
Like you always say in the classes, I always tell people I'm still a brother. I'm still under the Nazarene Messianic Party. It's just that now that out here locally where I'm at in California, we have our classes, but I'm still a member. And I know Judah, he's always stressed that we live in a society where everybody has to be convenienced. Everything is based on being convenience. You got to have your food fast. You got to have this fast. And when you have that type of way of thinking, or when you have this type of method in society, things are not being complete properly. And that's why I think we have such a mess going on in society, and why we have so many undeveloped teachers. Like Judah was saying, there's no quality, there's no full substance. Yeah, anyone can come out and put a few scriptures together, but it's about the spirit, like you said, the spirit that quicketh. What is it that you're doing? Is it about your ego? Are you puffing up your flesh? Or are you really, really trying to engage brothers and sisters into the spirit of the Most High? But with that being said, I'm going to go to Josh, man. Why do we have an overabundance of teachers? Go ahead, bro.
It's basically like what Brother Judah said. Like this is the age of information, right? And, like he also pointed out, knowledge puffeth up. And incidentally, it also mentions in that same verse about charity, which means love, which we've been talking about with the brotherhood. Charity edifieth, which means builds up. See, one puffers up, the other one builds up. So you already know if somebody is operating in love or not, if their whole mission is to either build up or to puff up themselves. If you see somebody always trying to tear down something, then edification may not be their goal. Edification means building somebody up. Now, here's the funny thing. When you read 1 Timothy 3 in verse 6, among a number of things it says about a bishop, one of the things Paul says as the qualifications is, in verse 6, not a novice, which we all know means like a beginner, you know what I'm saying, newly planted. The word is actually in the Greek, neophutos, or neophutos, or neophutos, and it means newly planted. You follow what I'm saying? That's what the word means. Or you can translate it as in the English as a neophyte, right? It says, not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into condemnation of the devil. And see, he's letting you know right now that if you take on the role of a bishop, which means an overseer, an elder, or a teacher, and you're a novice, you will be lifted up with pride. And we know pride is all about exalting self, promoting self, and you will fall into condemnation of the devil. So what's going on here in this age of information is that the information is being pumped out faster than the doctrine of changing self. It's the equivalent of giving nuclear weapons and other weapons of war to somebody without training them in how and when to use them. It's going to be a disaster. And that's what people are doing with this knowledge. They're giving these people all of this knowledge, but they're not teaching anybody any temperance. They're not teaching anybody any love. They're not teaching anybody any humility. They're just giving you the guns. That's all they're doing. And that's what you see. You see people, they get the guns, and they go out and they go shooting. So then when somebody like myself or Judah or another similar organization comes on the scene, and we're trying to tell people, okay, you got the knowledge, but you also got to wield it in love, patience, charity, humility, and all the other fruit of the Spirit. When we tell people that, then they want to shoot us because it's not being taught. I mean, this is the age of information, like I said, and you can easily flood the market with the other things that are essential to salvation. And character development is not emphasized enough in the Hebrew community. It just isn't. That's why you got brothers make videos and they cursing people out in the videos. They calling people the N-word in the videos. They're calling people all kinds of obscenities. The same way they used to act before their so-called conversion. The only difference is you're toting a Bible now and you're calling yourself a Hebrew Israelite, but you still behave in the same manner. Now, whether you're Tanakh only or Messianic, both of these testaments emphasize character development and character change. And that's not being emphasized. It's hardly being taught. All they want to do is put a battery in your back by telling you, number one, you're special. That's how they reel you in. They come to you as a African American, so-called, and they say, did you know that the people we call African Americans today are the so-called Negroes are the chosen people of the Bible, and that these people were singled out from the rest of the world. And the first thing that does to you, coming from a background where you felt like you didn't matter, you were nothing, is it gives you a sense of pride, and it may start off as a good type of pride, because all pride isn't bad. I can show y'all that in a lesson. And it may start out as a good sense of pride, a good sense of belonging, But then it evolves into this arrogance where now you're looking down on any and everybody first who you don't think are blood descendants of Israel. And then secondly, anybody who's not under the particular umbrella of the organization that first introduced this newfound knowledge to you, right? So what happens is they're giving you all this knowledge. They're giving you an identity. They're giving you a purpose. But they're not telling you that, look, when you convert over to the way of Torah observance, or if you become a Messianic Hebrew, your knowledge is not the only thing that is supposed to improve. Your character is supposed to improve as well. That's why it tells you in Proverbs, a good name is better to be chosen than, I think it says, like choice rubies or riches or something like that. And that word name there, Shem, doesn't mean in that context like your label. It means your character. That's what that means. It said that's better to be chosen than riches. So the Bible is telling you a good character. And what's a good character? Somebody who operates in all of these characteristics, like love, patience, humility, honor, respect, loyalty. All of these things right here is not being taught. All we're doing is sticking batteries into people's backs with the knowledge, and we send them out there to the masses, and we say, okay, seek and destroy. And then y'all go back and y'all say, how come our conversion rate is so low? People talk about how big of an organization ISUPK is. They love to brag. They say ISUPK is the biggest Hebrew Israelite organization, Black Hebrew Israelite organization. I have no reason to disbelieve that. In fact, I'm inclined to believe that may be the absolute truth. But that's bad when you consider the size of so-called Christian organizations. And people say, well, people love Christianity because they feed you lies. They tell you what you want to hear. Not true. The very first thing that attracts people to Christianity is the personality and love and generosity of the people. That's what really makes people want to go to church. Not because a lot of people don't like going to church. In fact, most Christians will tell you that they go to church more for the fellowship than they do for what's being taught from the pulpit. So it's the camaraderie that they feel, the care that they feel, that is the main reason why the so-called Sunday church will always overshadow the Hebrew Israelite organizations in membership, because the Hebrew Israelite organizations don't know how to operate in genuine love. All they want to do is puff you up with knowledge and make you have a big head. That's why it's called puffed up, because that means get big. They want to make you get an inflated head, an inflated ego, and go out there and show people how much knowledge you have. I'm better than that man. I know more than him. My organization knows more than this organization does, and so on and so forth. So that's the reason how I see it, DA. Thank
you. Man, that's some good stuff right there, man. It's a privilege to have you brothers on, man. Most definitely. I'm sitting back taking some notes, and I'm learning a lot, as always. And there's some things that stood out. One thing that stood out, both of you guys said, you didn't say it verbatim, but it falls within, it lines up with what you brought out, or what you said, rather. Rebuke, correction. Why is there an attitude in Israel to where brothers think they're above correction? And I wanted to read something from Proverbs chapter 12. And let me see. Proverbs chapter 12. And I'm reading from the Greek Septuagint. Proverbs 12 and verse 1. And it reads, he that loves instruction loves sense, but he that hates reproof is a fool. He that is found favored with the Lord is made better, but a transgressor shall be passed over in silence. Why is it common, and not amongst all Hebrews, but from what I'm starting to notice as the years pass by for me, why is there an attitude to where brothers cannot be corrected? And where brothers, and then you have individuals who may do it in love, but like it says, a fool hate instruction or a fool hate correction, why is there so much animosity and fire received or dashed out at a brother who's trying to correct those who are in error? Let's go with you, Judah.
You know, to put it simply, I don't have a whole lot to say on that. But when you mention that, it makes me think of the Apostle Paul. He said that, or he instructed the people who were coming into the church not think more of themselves than what they really are. Think that when that happens, because, you know, people hear the word all of a sudden now, you know, to be the man of God or the woman of God, and, you know, they, you know, and bringing out this knowledge, you know, people look at individuals a certain way. That can get to the end of that pride, again, going back into that being puffed up. And then you start to look at yourself more than what you really are. You know, as just a human being, you can make mistakes. You got to give yourself room for error. And a lot of times the approach that people give, and I recall just in my earlier days, that's what coming out of a certain spirit or an environment, that's how you came. Came hard, and I learned you fall hard. And so therefore, when you're coming hard, you're not giving yourself room for error. You got it. You got the truth. And, you know, people looking at you behind that and saying how great and knowledgeable you are, it becomes extremely difficult when you make a mistake. You never gave yourself that room to actually present that. And I think that gets into why Paul was giving that warning. Don't think of yourself more than what you are. You can make a mistake. You might not be right. You know, it's like the text I brought up earlier today about in I believe that's Deuteronomy chapter 15. When it, you know, that's how I understand it to be, and I appreciate the way Josh was bringing it out, talking about how we may understand things. May look at things differently. We may understand things a different way, but we might agree and say, well, you know what, brother, that is right. Let me reevaluate that. But if we don't, we still walk away, still love there. But that approach where, yeah, you know, this is the way I see it, but still understanding, you know, I could be wrong, though. This is just the way I see it. And I don't think people approach it that way. I think they come hard. And they think themselves to be great people. And that can lead into an error where, you know, when it comes down for correction, and that's a hard pill to swallow. So I turn it over to hear, you know, what others have to say about it, you know.
I'll say this, if you guys don't mind. What I've noticed is that the attitude and the spirit that's amongst our community or our people is that we put ourselves out there to know everything. We put ourselves in these type of conditions or situations to where we can answer all questions. And when it comes to a lot of the guys who are out of the One West doctrine, one thing I noticed, this is not to attack nobody, but I noticed that they have an answer for every question. And you do it for so long to where you build up this attitude or you have this spirit on you that you're above correction, that you cannot be corrected, you're always right. And when we have this spirit amongst us, that is setting us up for a big fall. I know various individuals who have come out and admitted that they have been in error, but they have such of a big following that they're scared, or they have so much of a big following that they don't want to come out and make it seem like they were in error or they were incorrect because they're afraid of losing their numbers or whatever it may be, or the following they have. So why is it that is it about love for the people, or is it more so about ego? This is what I'm noticing amongst a lot of our people who teach, or brothers who may like to speak a lot on the internet, or who have their little platforms or their blog talks or whatever it may be. And I tend to notice that this way of thinking that you can't be corrected, it leads to a lot of error. But go ahead, Josh.
Appreciate that, BA. That was a good observation, and as well as what Brother Judah put out there. And like you said, I think a lot of brothers don't like to be corrected because, number one, of the pride issue. You follow what I'm saying? And out of fear of losing a following. But at the same time, though, when you're correcting somebody, you have to correct them correctly. And we don't know how to do that. That's just the real of it. We don't really know how to tell people in a way that is, acceptable to them. You don't have to be harsh every time you want to correct somebody because that will make people not want to receive the correction. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. So pride comes into play and people start feeling like, we may lose this person or we might lose these people, you know what I'm saying? And we may be looked upon as, failures. And when it comes to that, nobody really wants to think about that. So what they'll do is they'll just try to either act like they don't see what you're saying or they'll keep fighting, they'll keep kicking. I myself have been met with this a lot. You follow what I'm saying? Like I try to show somebody something, and I know they see it. You follow what I'm saying? But because they got too much pride, they'll keep on fighting, they'll keep on debating, they'll keep on trying to, make excuses, they'll make videos, they will do whatever. Now, I want to read something from the Apocrypha, the book of Sirach, specifically chapter 20 and verse 20, also known as Ecclesiasticus. Look what it says right here. And this is something that I found profound. It says a wise sentence. A wise sentence means good advice, the truth. It says a wise sentence shall be rejected when it cometh out of a fool's mouth, for he will not speak it in due season. You know how people say sometimes you can say the right thing at the wrong time. You follow what I'm saying? This is what this is talking about. And more with what we see today, people say the right stuff the wrong way. And sometimes that's the reason why people don't want to receive the correction, because you're making them feel like a moron for not seeing it correctly when you can just come to them in love. But more often than not, it's pride. That's the reason why people don't want to be corrected, because they're afraid of how people will see them. They're afraid that people will stop believing in them when they should just be like, yo, I stand corrected. I actually have a lot of respect for people who can be corrected. You follow what I'm saying? Because it says in Proverbs, a wise man will receive correction. You follow what I'm saying? And it tells you also in Proverbs, fools hate correction. So we need to understand that, we are dealing with people and that we need to watch our delivery method, which you was talking about, BA, when you mentioned the One West Doctrine Hebrews, because as you said in the beginning of this show, a lot of people reject the message because of how people beat people across the head with it. That's an example of correcting somebody incorrectly. You follow what I'm saying? So that's basically what I got to say about that.
All right. If those who are listening, you want to call in and ask questions, the number is 319-527-6239. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. If you would like to send in questions through email, the email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. Again, debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. All right, Sal said we had a couple of callers on standby. You guys mind answering a couple of callers?
Oh, you already know that's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and before we go to the callers, I would just like to add, these are men of integrity, men of justice, men of meekness, men of the Most High. So for those callers, I ask that you be respectful, be mindful, and be very respectful towards my brothers here. If anyone is disrespectful, we will pull the plug on you instantly. The Man Up Show is not about drama or mess. You can take it somewhere else. Okay, my man Sal, let's go to the callers.
All right, family. Once again, if you're on social media, you're checking out the show. That number to call in is 319-527-6239. Everybody know the rules. There's no foul language, family. Got to keep it clean, keep it professional when you call into the show. Let's go to the callers. Let's go to 303-746. You're live in there. 303.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, love. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi to Brother Josh.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. This is Brittany.
How you doing, Brittany? I know exactly who you are from the YouTube post. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love you, bro, and I don't want to offend you or anything, and I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, so that's all I want to say.
Praise God.
All right. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 202-553. You're live in there.
Peace, brothers. This is Brother Moshe. Josh, I love you too, brother. I just want to say that. Hey, I had a peace to Elder Judah also. I know a question was asked earlier about the many teachers, and I have a thought, and just wanted to share your thoughts on an ordination process. So when you look at other religious institutions, like larger Western groups, if you would, I generally don't see Jehovah's Witnesses break off and set up their own Kingdom Hall. That generally, in my estimation, doesn't happen, right? You pretty much go through their ranks, and if you ain't through their ranks, then, you kind of excommunicated or whatever else. But when you look at Titus, he begins to point out that, I think this is Titus maybe 1:9 or 1:8, about setting up individuals through ordination process, that probably one of the reasons that there's a lot of teachers out there is that there isn't like a commission setting up people also. I think I agree to what they're saying, but I just wanted to get your ideas on the ordination process also.
Thank you, my brother, for calling in with your question. You guys go ahead and answer that if you would like. Take it away.
You can go ahead, Judah. I'll let you start it off.
No, you go.
If you don't mind.
Go ahead. No, go.
Okay.
You want me to?
Well, yeah. The reason being is, for one thing, I only heard like the last part of what he was saying. I didn't want to break in and say I couldn't hear. You follow what I'm saying? So I figured from you answering this question, I would get the gist of what he was asking, and I would add my input, because I really didn't hear him until like the end.
Okay. It's something that I have to consider as far as a whole, meaning all of the different, because you have so many different Hebrew Israelite groups that probably within some of those groups you do have an ordination process. But I think that it's a good thing to do. You know what I mean? Especially if you're an organized class or organization where you take integrity in your teachings, and you raising up or teaching students. I think to ordain them, that's like giving that teachers okay. That look, man, you've been trained, sound in the doctrines. Here, we're gonna have a little ceremony for you, like almost like a graduation thing, So I think I think is a good thing to do. You know what I mean? Either as with teachers or another way to do the ordination. Excuse my doggone tongue. I'm sitting up here trying to eat at the same time. Is the people who you become a teacher over. You know, they can ordain you. So I think that will be helpful. I think it will cut down on a lot of things, you know, as far as all of the different teachers and all of the different walks. Because usually all of these splinter individuals who call themselves teachers really don't have, they may not have really a group of people to ordain them. They probably broke off somewhere and from a teacher that they disagreed with. And so, you know, they just out there, you know. But I think it'll show a little bit more order, but it will be difficult because of the different groups, splinter groups out there, where you really have to come on one accord to do something like that. But you mentioned the Jehovah's Witnesses, so you know they're definitely in order. Their organization is definitely in order as far as that's concerned. You know, a lot of professionals, you know, and so it's different than when you see what you see in this. You know, it's a raggle-taggle community, man. I mean, this so-called community where, to be honest, you know, if a person see us or see me or something, they may have fringes on or something like that, and or they may hear in a conversation, you know, just even associate myself with the group because it's so unorganized and there's so many people saying so many different things. Like Josh said earlier, you know, many of us have seen it or heard it. They're out there cussing 4-letter words, every other word. You know, they just really smearing. They just really smearing this whole idea of Hebrew Israelites. I definitely didn't see it in my day growing up. You know, the teachers that I've seen, they was older, and it really wasn't like that. Even when they had disagreements, it really wasn't like you see today. And that probably comes from this, you know, people not really being ordained and trained. But again, YouTube, you know, usually if you're ordained, you don't set under you have set under someone. Again, it goes back into this fast information. You know, you sit in your own living room, don't have to be bothered with nobody, and you gather this information, and then you, like Josh said, I mean, excellent breakdown. You know, that it's like you're giving a person, you're not training them on the safety material, you're not training them on how to use the information, you're just giving them the gun. And here, you know, you just go out there, and next thing you know, they messing everything up. You know, so that's all I have to say on that at the moment.
I'll go right ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think I got the gist of what the caller was asking from Judah's answer, and I agree with his answer too, by the way. Yeah, I think there should be some kind of ordination process where you become an official teacher. Now, of course, there's not going to be total agreement on how formal this ceremony should be, but I think that by the like you liken it to a graduation, when you make a big deal out of somebody doing something like that, it does tend to psychologically make them take it more seriously. You follow what I'm saying? It makes them value it more. So I definitely agree that it should at least be touched on to the individual who's graduating to the level of teacher or leader, or as IUPK say, captains and stuff like that, that they should make some kind of deal about it as far as like, you know, putting it upon that person, the importance of what they're about to do, you know, the great duty and responsibility that they now have. So I definitely agree that it should be some ordination process as far as that's concerned. But that's it.
And personally, I would agree on that as well. I think some type of, and I'm speaking from my own personal walk. I didn't go through that. You know what I'm saying? And I try not to teach as much. But for me, now that I've been teaching from time to time, and I see that it's a big responsibility that the Most High is going to hold you accountable for the things that we speak and what we say or what we teach. So I am in agreement with both of you guys that there needs to be some type of process, and especially in Israel, because like I said, in Christendom, at least they have a process to where they make their bishops or deacons or preachers or whatever title they have, they go through some type of trial, some type of learning process before they even are allowed to expound or teach. And I think in Israel that needs to be stressed, because right now we see that we have a hen house, and we have way too many brothers and sisters popping up over here, left, right, north, south, east, west, all over the place, and there's no order. And one thing I have noticed is that people believe they don't have to sit under anyone anymore. Like, people feel like they don't have to join this group or that group, or they don't need to be taught under an elder. And this is not the way that the people of the scriptures that we believe that we descend from. This is not how they thought. Moses had students that were under him. The Messiah had his students. The prophet Elijah, he had a student under him. All of our elders, which Judah tends to call them from time to time, the elders, they had their students that sat under them. Like Judah has brothers and sisters who sit under him, who study under him. Even though I know Judah doesn't like to be called a teacher, he considers himself a student, but still, I am a student under Judah. Same as Josh as well. I listen to you guys, and I consider you guys my teachers. So the thing is that this attitude or this thing about I don't need to sit under nobody, or I don't need to be a part of this person or this person's group, this is something, and we always want to call ourselves Israel. This is not how the Israelites thought. They always had some type of notion, or they had this understanding to where they had to sit under somebody, and before they just went off and did their own thing. And I just wanted to expound on that, and I'll say that much rather. But Sal, we got another caller?
Yes, we do. We do have some more callers standing by. And by the way, family, we have a lot of callers on the phone line. If you want to email your questions, the email is, once again, debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's debatetalk, the number 4, and the letter U @gmail.com. I'll definitely read your questions out. I'm checking my emails right now, but let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 719-534. Live on air.
Hey, how you doing? This is Brother McGarvey with Sister Shayna and Sister Gabby from this Add Water and Stir generation. We are the children of the Knesset. We were calling in to say that this is a good debate. I guess Shayna had a comment, and I don't know if Gabby had a comment, but I wanted to ask a question after she commented.
Yeah, hello.
Yo, what's good, Garvey? What's the word, bro? How you been?
What's good, BA? I'm sorry, bro. Forgive me. Forgive your brother 7 times, 77 times.
It's all good, my brother. Go ahead with your question. It's all us.
Yeah, so this is Sister Shayna. I just had a comment just that lately I've just been feeling like the Lord has been kind of showing me this need for this brotherly love, like, and us like really understanding what that looks like and what it means, because it's not really a physical thing. Like, it can be a physical thing. You show love by giving food, shelter, clothing to people who need it, and you know, like that scripture said earlier. I can't recall where it was, but basically to the people who are in the faith, especially. But just in general, I've just been thinking like really these are really necessary conversations that need to happen in all circles of any circle where people are claiming to be followers of Christ, because this is what we need. We need that those bonds with each other to really, like Elder Judah said before, we really need these bonds to make it in this world, and this, you know, like, we just can't make it by ourselves. We need to help each other out. We need to be there for one another, for whatever our needs may be, which it could be physical, or it could be spiritual, or it could be mental. Like, we are the glue that holds each other together. So I was encouraged that this was taking place. I've been enjoying the discussion, and I'm glad that, you know, this is on people's minds, that, you know, let's talk about this and flesh it out and kind of see how we can do better at it. So that was my comment.
Oh, thank you, sister. We appreciate that. Go ahead. I'm sorry, brother. Go right ahead.
And I just wanted to ask Elder Josh and Elder Judah about kind of the dynamic that they think should be played out amongst people who profess Christ and profess the gospel, and kind of how the administration of things should be done versus kind of how they're currently being done. So back in Acts, when basically they were depending on each other for different things, as Paul talked about, and trying to figure out and understand, like, kind of where you lie between, like, Christ and him crucified, and also dealing with the daily administration of, like, taking care of people. And also, if you guys can kind of touch on, like, how you should be with people outside, like people who are homeless, people who are destitute, and kind of get into, if they don't decide to follow the gospel, or if you want to help them out and they choose not to partake, then kind of how do you look at people? Because you don't want to just, like, kind of step over homeless people or step over hungry people just because they may have an addiction or an issue. But, you know, Paul also says not to keep company with people who do certain things. So, like, how do you kind of find the balance?
Go ahead, brothers. You guys go ahead and expound on that.
Okay, you want me to go, Judah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as, like, the dynamic goes and showing people that we represent Christ or Mashiach, we should try to operate just like he did. When he came across the homeless, who the Bible would just simply call the poor, he showed compassion over them. He didn't just step over them. This is what the religious leaders of the day were known for doing. They didn't really care that much about the poor. That's why one thing Jesus said was that the poor has the gospel preached unto them. Jesus was known for associating with the downtrodden and the common folk. And that's how we're supposed to be. We're not supposed to come out like we're all high and mighty and, you know, aloof and think we're better than people and holier than thou. You know, we're all equally inferior to the Most High God and his Son. And that's how we should always view ourselves. I don't walk around here thinking I'm better than anybody. I don't know anybody like that to be like, well, I'm better than you. Even if I think I'm a better teacher or a better debater, outside of the platform, I don't know what you do. I don't know if you operate in a soup kitchen. I don't know if you're part of a Big Brother program that serves the community, or if you loan money out to help people. You might be doing all of that. So nobody can just say I'm a better person, you know. But what we should always try to do is operate the way Christ operated. And you might be able to knock only Hebrew and say, well, I don't want to operate the way Christ operated. Then you need to operate the way Moses instructed you to operate, which is the same way Christ operated. You know, you're supposed to take care of the poor. In fact, in Torah law, it is a requirement to look after the poor or the homeless. It's not optional, if you can, of course, because some of us ain't nothing but a paycheck from being homeless ourselves. I mean, that's just the truth. But, you know, you can do something. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the dynamic on how we're supposed to operate in the faith, especially as Christians or Messianics. But I turn it over to Judah.
Yeah, so much been said. Sort of lost, because he asked about 2-3 questions. So usually when I'm in when we're in one another company, I have to ask and be more specific. Now, what exactly are you saying? So I may have to do one of those numbers. But in the meantime, what
Are you still on, Garvey?
Yeah, I'm here, but he can go first, and then if he needs clarification, I can do that, because we do that.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
So far, what it seemed like Brother Josh, what he was saying, I pretty much agree, to operate like the Messiah operated. But I will probably need more specifics on where you're going or what you're asking.
So, like, to what extent do you reach out and help those who are kind of without? Like, and at what point is there like a line being drawn? So, if you see a person who is homeless or somebody who is asking for food or begging for food, and they're like known to be chronic users or chronic people who beg, and you don't really know their story or whatever, and you could try and give them the gospel and they reject it, like, to what kind of obligation do you have to that person, even if they're like destitute and they choose not to follow the gospel? That's kind of where I'm asking what I'm asking.
Okay. Responding from that, that's, you just met a person. You know, walk past, you see somebody on a park bench. They probably won't receive what you're saying right away. You know what I mean? So, in the meantime, you address what their needs are at that moment. If they're asking, especially. The Messiah said, you know, that's what the Messiah was teaching. You know, if a person asks something, you know, give it to them. If a person asks you to walk 1 mile, go 2. So this was these principles he was explaining, to be open to give a hand and to help the person ask, because that could win them over. But I think what my angle with this is, or how I view it in a greater scheme of things, is that it brings us back to this unity of the believers. Whether I'm right or wrong, I believe that the Messiah had a movement and these communities which were being set up had an administration, you know, and they worked together to provide bread. You know, that's what I see when I say, well, we need to work together as a team. That's the depth I'm thinking on how those of us who do have, and that's what the Messiah, he confronted people who had, and he demanded that those who do have, you are your obligation. You know, you're not really doing anyone a favor. This is why the Most High gave you what you have to help if you're in that position. So I don't really think that it can be really effective as individualists, where I'm somewhat going with it, where the unity of the church is very important. So the administration, let's say, was in Acts. You know, when you have thousands of people coming together and people need bread, people need food, you needed men and women to be together. You needed men and women to really care for one another, to even that core group of 120, let's say. They really had to love one another, have this fraternal love to even begin to deal and help the people who was just beginning to believe. You know what I mean? Acts 2, they just, you know, they didn't have it all together. They just at that moment believed in the Mashiach. And so the administration of Paul, you know, shipping food down to Jerusalem, you know, that was one heck of an administration. You know, it just mentions him, but in reality, you know, he couldn't do anything like that by himself. You had to have some kind of a caravan. You know, you bringing food down to thousands of people. So I think that you need unity, and you help provide the needs of those individuals, and that could win them over. Sort of seen that with the Nation of Islam. I don't want to be too long-winded, but just end it with this, that the people who are hooked on drugs or who are homeless or getting out of prison, Elijah Muhammad or Mr. Elijah Poole, they had a thing set up with houses where people were able to go to them. And, you know, sometimes they would lock them in the houses to break them, you know, if they had these cravings to get back to the heroin. But they helped the person even before they were able to do anything as far as being observant to any code of law. And when they gave that help or gave that love, which sort of brings us back to our early conversation. That encouraged them to, man, I want to learn more about the God you believe in, you know. So, but then you have those who are also just opportunists. But you really won't know that until, you know, you give time to that individual to see, well, what's going on. And the Messiah knew it. That's why he said, you know, you bless those who despitefully use you. You know, you give them a hand. You know, if they feel that they're smart and you stupid, then you go on your way. You know, you wipe your hands with it. But you know, you pray that they get it together. But still, you have that element of people who they hear in the word first. The Messiah didn't ask anyone per se of anything when he was out there feeding them. You know, at this moment, I'm taking you out to get something to eat. And while you're eating, I'm going to expound on the kingdom. So it's just this balance. I wouldn't say that person got to be a full-fledged believer, observe the Torah and all this, and keep the Sabbath and all that. Not saying that you're saying it, but some people take it to that level. I've had conversations with people like that where they don't keep the commandments, so therefore that's why they messed up. I don't believe that necessarily to be the case, but you know, this kind of a conversation I can go on for some time, you know, in that. But I'm gonna turn it over. But just that little brief thing that I just put on the table for now. I'm gonna end with that.
Okay, man. Thanks for the information, Judah. It's always appreciated. But man, so let's get on with the rest of the conversation. And if there are callers still on, if there's callers on standby, please be patient. We'll get back to the callers later on in the show, and we're going to continue on with the conversation. And with that being said, when it comes to being an Israelite, I can read, I think it's in Genesis 32, or either prior to that, somewhere around there. I can't remember it. Forgive me for not exactly getting it out, or not to be there exactly. We understand that Jacob had wrestled with a messenger or angel. And the reason why he was called Israel is not because it was skin color, not because of that. He strived with the Most High. That's what it means to be an Israelite. It means to strive with God or to strive with Elohim. And what I'm starting to notice is that within the Hebrew community, being an Israelite is measured by blackness. And that is contrary to what the Most High has called it, because we have to remember, the Most High called Jacob and he called him Israel. So if the Most High is giving him a name or giving him a title or whatever it is he's given him, why is there so much flack nowadays with Israelites who apply something spiritual, a spiritual action? Because being an Israelite, it's an action. It's not about who you are, where you're from, what your skin color is. That's not how the Most High operates. He's not bound by flesh. And I try not to fight and argue with people over that, but if there's anyone out there teaching that, I will be honest with you. I am a swordsman when it comes to that, and I will cut that doctrine in half. I will destroy it, because that is not what the Spirit has revealed. And the Most High is not bound by the flesh. Christ said it himself, the flesh profit nothing. It is the Spirit that quicketh. So why is there so much flack, or why is there so much emphasis put on being black? An Israelite is about being black, or why is there blackness implied to it? Let's go to you, Josh.
That's a good question, too, and it's one that definitely overdue when it comes to answering. It's real simple. The same reason why emphasis was being put on being black when we as black people first adopted the nation of Islam, or Islam. And what we tend to do, and it's in the conscious community, what we tend to do is try to identify religion with race, or we want a race-based religion, you know, and this is just a deception of the devil that's been going on for decades. You follow what I'm saying? Even when you go back to the ancient Bible times, it lets you know that Israel had a superiority complex on themselves when it came to the other nations, which is why the Jews gave Peter such a hard time when they discovered that he was eating with Cornelius and the other Gentiles. So first thing we want to do is establish an identity that both elevates our race and our religion. So the reason why they do that is because what we tend to do as black people, we want to feel like we are inherently superior to everybody else. And that's nothing that God ever told them. He never told them you are inherently superior to the other nations. In fact, Israel was like the worst among nations. The Bible actually says that. He even said, you taught the wicked ones their ways. He told them, you only have I known among all the nations, talking to Israel, therefore I will punish you for your iniquities. Because God had only revealed himself to the Israelites, they knew what time it was. That's why he punished them worse than anybody. It's kind of like you can't punish somebody who knows something the same way you punish somebody who don't know something. You follow what I'm saying? If both of these people break a certain law, you can't punish them the same way because one of them didn't know. Now, today in America, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. But they say that here because knowledge of the law is available all over the place. But in the ancient world, the nations didn't know about the dietary regulations, at least not in great detail. They didn't know about Shabbat, wearing fringes. They didn't know about any of that stuff. Even things like incest were common to them. So God didn't judge them the same way he judged Israel because Israel knew better. But he did not select them because they were inherently or genetically superior. And this is the propaganda that's being spread. If you go back and research the Nation of Islam, they were spreading the doctrine that the black man was the original man and that the white man was a genetic abnormality or created in a lab. That's what you hear in the country community. That's what you hear in the Nation of Islam. Now, it's the same thing with the One West doctrine. They put the same false information out there, but they put a different spin on it. They'll tell you that Esau means, and I've seen them say it. Every time I challenge any one of these dudes to show me where they're getting this from, they never can. But they tell you that the name Esau means wasted away, or wasted away is he. And I'm like, in what Hebrew can I see that? Give me a dictionary. Give me some Hebrew. That does not exist outside of One West doctrine. Esau does not mean wasted away is he, or wasted away. It means hairy or rough to the touch, because that's what he was when he was born. He was covered with hair. And everybody knows a hairy person is going to feel like a little rough if they got a lot of hair on them, right? Same thing with Jacob. A lot of Israelites don't know that Jacob is not a good name. Jacob means deceiver. It means supplanter. It means somebody who grabs your heel and try to make you fall so they can take your place. You can look this stuff up. And a lot of people are still operating in the spirit of the name Jacob, when they should be operating in the spirit of the name Israel, because that is a prince that have power with God and man. He has he strove with God, and now he has power with God and man. A lot of us are still acting like Jacob. We're still acting like deceivers. We're still grabbing each other by the heels and trying to make them fall so we can stand up and take their place. Look up the word supplanter. Anybody listening, when we go back to the phones, before we do, I want y'all who are listening, look up the word supplant. Look up the word supplanter. And then look up the synonyms for the word supplant. It means to deceive somebody, to trick somebody, to try to swindle somebody. This is why when Esau discovered that Jacob had impersonated him and achieved the blessing, he said, is he not rightfully called Jacob? In other words, he's living up to his name. That's why he said that. This completely flies over black Hebrews' head, or they just ignore it. But Jacob means deceiver. It means somebody who tries to trip somebody up and take their place. A lot of people don't understand that that's what they were fighting over in the womb. It said 2 nations are in your womb. They're fighting against each other. Nobody even asked the question, what in the world were they fighting about, even as babies? They were fighting over who would be born first. That's what they were fighting over, and that's the reason why when Esau came out first, Jacob grabbed him by the heel, and his parents took a look at that act, and they interpreted that in a deceiving, usurping kind of way. That's why they called him Jacob, because they could see he was trying to pull Esau back and take his place as the firstborn. A lot of people don't get that deep with that. And a lot of these brothers are still operating in the spirit of Jacob. They're operating like crabs. Some of y'all watch the Boondocks. Y'all seen that episode about the hateocracy. Take you back to the scene where Grandpa is sitting on the dock with the guy who was a Fred Sanford or Red Fox parody. And he was already crab fishing on the dock. Go look up this scene on YouTube. Just type in Boondocks crab fishing scene. And he breaks down how crabs, literal crabs, operate. When he had a bunch of live crabs in a bucket. And whenever one tried to climb out, the other one would grab his claw and pull him down. Now, in that scene, he said, I like that. I appreciate that. A crab don't want to see another crab succeed. All he wants to do is hold another crab back, pull him down with him. Well, that's what Jacob was doing. Because if you grab somebody by the heel today, literally, and they're walking or running, what's going to happen? They're going to trip up and fall. And Jacob was doing that in a way, not to just make Esau fall, but to actually take his place, get ahead of him. And a lot of people don't like to hear this type of stuff about Jacob because they want to believe that only Esau was the bad egg. Esau was worse than Jacob, but Jacob was no saint. Not in the beginning anyway. You follow what I'm saying? And we have to understand that that's what's going on with this whole race thing. We're still operating like Jacob. We haven't made that conversion to becoming Israel, spiritually speaking. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with calling yourself Jacob, because even in the Bible, after his conversion, they still refer to him as Jacob sometimes. I'm not saying it's wrong to name your child Jacob or call other Hebrew Israelites Jakes, like we sometimes do. But understand the origin of that brother's name. It is not a righteous origin. We need to understand this stuff, and that's why I did a class a long time ago titled Jacob versus Israel, because a lot of people don't want to be Israel. They want to be Jacob. But I'll turn it over.
Thanks, my brother. Judah, same question. Go ahead and expound.
Question was about the superiority complex and race among the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, it's more so of we understand that being an Israelite means to strive with God, to be one with the Most High, or to strive with Elohim. And why is it that in the Hebrew Israelite community, blackness is also implied with it? So why is there such a superiority complex when we come into this knowledge or understanding that we are Israel?
When you ask that, I'm sure it's more than one reason. Brother Josh gave a good argument as well, and so I guess I would say another issue is the influences of our environment inside of at this moment in time, a imperialist society. It appears the whole idea of superiority arose from a development of classes and a hierarchy. It's interesting because it penetrates into many different facets. Briefly, what else comes to my mind is, because I marvel off of it, is when going back to the sisters again. When I say that a sister isn't beneath a man, I have gotten responses. Well, then if we're not equal, they say, well, we're not equal, and then I say, well, she isn't beneath us. We are equal. They immediately interpret that as that then she must be superior to us. Well, where does it say that a woman is superior to a man? And I marvel at that. Like, how in the heck do you come up? How did you jump from there? Boy, you had to jump across the lake for that. It seemed like it's difficult for people to just understand, no, equity, equality. It's not about superiority in either case. I think that's something that really came from the ruling class throughout the generations, them creating xenophobias and prejudices to create a feeling inside of a person that they're better. That's what took place when whites and blacks really got separated. At one time, they were together, even here in the West, until the ruling class created this superiority by giving more privilege to the Euro-Gentile brothers, sisters. At one time, we're all in the same boat. And some people won't agree with that, but, history bears that out. And now, even learning that you're Israelites, or you're learning that you have a heritage, you have a people, and even like I believe Brother Josh has said it as well. The Bible tells you, well, no, Israel, you wasn't better than anyone. In the book of Deuteronomy, it says, the nations that are moving out, they're mightier in that particular context, stronger than you as far as war. They're developed. I'm not moving them out because you're better than them. But so the idea of Israel is to create a society of equity. When we talking about like we may lose sight, we're the children of Israel, but at the end of the day, I like to bring to the class that no, we're actually the children of Noah. And when you get past Noah, you go back to Adam. And I think that the principles in Genesis is teaching that we are a family. And I like how Josh put that earlier, when we use the term brother. We're actually just talking about a family. And I think that has lost sight because the real teachings of the in-depth teachings of Torah and the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth, they overlooked. And what is being brought to the table is a lot of religious, I'm using that term as far as dogmas and rituals, and that seemed to come to the forefront. This dogma and ritual, whether it's keeping a Sabbath day or whether it's wearing fringes. Whatever religious dogma people have in various different religions, it just sticks out, and they're missing the essence of that we are man, humanity. It's not about superiority. It's about equity. It's about equality. That is what will bring peace, to the earth. But I really think that what we see today among the so-called Hebrew Israelites is that they're tainted with the mentality of their oppressors, and because the oppressor brings to the table superiority and inferiority. But in the Bible, we deal with justice, we deal with equity. Son of Adam, we all of one family. And I think, a careful study of the passages will reveal that. To some people that might, well, brother, I don't know where you're going with that. Well, I understand, You're talking about a brother who, when I was in high school, I got kicked out of high school for, kicked out of one of the high schools. I had to go to another high school because of starting ethnic divisions and violence. And so, when I hear, but I was a child, man, 15 years old. But now as I gotten older, I see, man, this is a trick of the hierarchy, the ruling class, and a lot of us haven't really freed our minds from that. And that's where I think that is coming into so-called Hebrew Israelite. They haven't cleansed their minds out from the influences of the oppressor. I see that in many different teachings and attitudes of the Hebrew Israelite, all the way down the way that they deal with the women, just like the hierarchy of the imperial ruling elite. But I turn it over, to get more feedback on that. But that's my views on that as well, along with what Brother Josh had brought to the table too.
Okay, cool. Some good words. You kind of touched on my next question, Judah. When it comes to nation building, this is also another topic that I hear within the community. I hear a lot of brothers always talking about nationhood and how they're going to build this nation within a nation and how we should be superior to the other peoples or whatever. And what I tend to notice is that a lot of our brothers and sisters who have this mind frame, I understand that there's nothing wrong with wanting to become a nation and want to be independent. But I still see that we have the thought process of the imperialist or our oppressor. It also says in Proverbs not to envy his oppressor or to take none of his ways, and I'm paraphrasing. And I tend to notice a lot, like we say we're this. Physically we're not here, but mentally we're still there when it comes to coming out of the churches or coming out of the streets, things of that nature. So when it comes to nation building, what is nation building based on the way the Most High called it? Let's go ahead, Josh. Take it away.
Appreciate that. And again, excellent question that you are raising tonight, Brother B.A. I just got to go out and just say that. It all depends on the perspective you're looking at. Because, first of all, there's nowhere in the scriptures where we are instructed as Hebrew Israelites to try to build a nation within a nation or a nation among the nations where we have been scattered to. That's nowhere in the Torah. We're not instructed to start communities, Hebrew Israelite communities, or build a nation. The contradiction is that these same people who will preach this will turn around and tell you that when the Most High comes back, whether you believe in the Tanakh only or Messianic, both books, they'll tell you that's when Israel is going to be set up as a nation. So I'm confused. Do we set up the nation, or does the Most High set up the nation? But I can tell you this. He never told us to try to physically set up a nation. What we are supposed to do, and I did a class on this, it was titled Believers from Beyond. And our mindset is supposed to be as if we are, and y'all can quote me on this, spiritually speaking, metaphorically speaking, because I know how people love to twist my words around. But we are supposed to be, metaphorically speaking, aliens from another planet. We are supposed to be removed from this world. We don't supposed to want to build anything within this world except spiritual things. Now, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to try to have economic empowerment, try to make as much money as you can. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to try to strive and have nice things. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to nation building, we have no nation or claim on this planet to build anything. Paul said that our kingdom is above. That's why Jesus told the Jews, he said, you are from beneath. I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. And then he turned around and told you in John 17 the same thing about his disciples. He said, they are not of this world, even as I am not of this world. Now, we know for Jesus, that was a literal statement as well as spiritual. He literally was not of this world. His origin predates mankind. We know that. We're not going to get all off into that, but we can do that in another lesson. But he told us, and Paul expounded on this concept, we are supposed to be believers from beyond. We're supposed to look at this world as a strange, wicked, foreign place. We shouldn't want to try to physically build a nation within this place. We're supposed to just live righteously, tell other people how to live righteously, try to enjoy life, within the confines of not sinning, try to be good people, and let the Most High build a nation. Because believe it or not, a nation in a kingdom, it's pretty much the same thing. Only thing a kingdom means is that this nation has a king. That's why the word king is in the word kingdom, because that means that specific nation has a king. Even though when you read in the Old Testament, you see the word nation, they still have kings too, but that's the origin of the word kingdom. That means we got a king ruling this. So we can't have a righteous Hebrew nation without a king. And our king, if you are a Messianic, is supposed to be the Mashiach. If you don't believe in the New Testament, then the Most High is supposed to be the king of that nation. And we know that the Most High is not operating right now his plan as ruler in the nations, because he still rules the nations, but he's not operating the ultimate plan, which is when everything is righteous, the law is coming forth from Zion, as you read in Isaiah chapter 2. That hasn't happened yet. So when people come around, they always talk about, we need to build a nation. We need to build a nation as Hebrew Israelites. I think to myself, who are you? You're not Moses, you're not Jesus, and you're not God. So you cannot build a nation. And then you turn around and say, we're supposed to rule the whole world. So you're not supposed to be trying to build a nation then. We're not, as Hebrew Israelites, we don't want to be rulers or operate within the confines of a nation. We want to operate in the confines of a kingdom, because he said that if we keep his commandments, we will be a nation of kings and priests. That's what he said. And nobody today is going to be able to elevate Israelites up to the status of kings and priests, because in order to do that, you have to rule the known world. And we know that's not about to happen. So when people, again, just to sum it up, when people talk about nation building, I just kind of just roll my eyes and just like, my eyes just kind of roll like, oh, here we go. That's not what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to build nations. That's not what he told you to do. He told you to keep his commandments, try to be nice to each other, and the nation building or the kingdom building, I don't care which word you want to use, it's all semantics to me, the Most High will take care of that. Thank you.
And I do agree with you, my brother. I mean, I forget where it's in Jeremiah, but it was when Nebuchadnezzar came in and the Israelites were exiled out of the land, and the prophet had told them pretty much, look, don't start no rebellions. Just live within the society of Babylon, and continue to do the best you can. So I do agree with you on that. I think there's a lot of emphasis on, and when it comes to our people, we tend to notice that we want to have so much of our own, and then when we try to apply this way of Israel or this walk of the Israelite walk to it, we just get all mixed up and confused, and we make it seem like it's some type of superiority complex or some type of pro-blackness like we were talking about earlier. But Judah, same question. I just want to expound real quick, but you go ahead and answer the same question. Nationhood or nation building, rather.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat. I probably would take the same route I took on the previous question. That when you're talking about nation building, I look at it differently, probably than with most Hebrew Israelites look at it. My understanding, for example, in the Torah, when the children of Israel was to set up a monarchy, if they ever decided to set up a monarchy, I should say, written in the legislation that, he should be among your brothers. He shouldn't exalt himself among the brothers, among his people. Don't add gold and, riches to himself. He was to sort of keep himself down on a common ground. I think where people get it mixed up, again, is that when they think of the kingdom of God, they're thinking of the kingdom of imperialists. And I noticed that confusion, which actually is the opposite. Like when the children of Israel left out of Egypt, they didn't really have a king per se. And even if you call Moses a king, you will have to ask yourself, what king asked all the citizens whether they willing to obey this legislation or not? The children of Israel is peculiar. the whole idea of the kingship is peculiar. Their nation is peculiar. And that's what I understand the Messiah was talking about. My kingdom isn't of this world. It's not how you see it. Like his students thought they battled over who shall be the greatest. He said, "Not that's how the empires of the world do things, and they love to be greater than the other." He said, "It's not like that with you. I am your master. You said right, and but I'm your servant. The greatest among you shall be the servant." So I think you have multitude of passages that's showing how the kingdom of God is actually upside down, if you will, in this day. Meaning, it's the total opposite. That, no, the kingdom of God in this kingdom is classless. In the regular kingdom, it's hierarchy, it's superiority. In the kingdom of God, you're all on a common ground. Like when they came out of Egypt, the administrators who were the elders of those princes and rulers, they all slept in the tent like everybody else slept in the tent. They ate manna like everybody else ate manna. And I think the Bible is teaching us about the unity of man. The unity of man. So when we talk about nation building, I don't look at the nation or the kingdom of God like we see nations being built today. It's the total opposite. Our king and our rulers, our princes, they are the ones who will not be put up on a pedestal. They are the ones who will seek to bring bread to the table and work and use the resources of the earth to help and feed and clothe and house their brethren. Not through charity, but through obligation. When I mean charity, I mean like handouts. I'm not necessarily talking about divine love, but I'm talking about the true love that we was talking about earlier, that the Messiah said that we have to love one another with. And I do. I see that the early establishing of the communities in Acts chapter 2 and Acts chapter 4 was a demonstration of the kingdom of God, but it wasn't like anything that the Roman world had ever seen. In fact, it was foolish. It was foolish for the people to take their goods and have everything in common, much like it is today. In fact, it was contrary to Roman law, like it is today. Roman law was to make money. They were pretty much capitalists. But today, the same thing. You to share your wealth, to lay down your life, to forsake your own goals and ambitions, to help bring bread to the table and to lift your brother up out of decay. And that's what I see building the kingdom of God is about, not building another empire. And I went back and forth with another guy about it. You think God building an empire. No, he's not building an empire. The nation of the kingdom of God is a community, just like it was in the beginning, under the government of Adam. It was an egalitarian society, and that's what I see the kingdom of God being established as, and that's what I think the future goal is. So as we help one another, we teach and instruct about the new government and pooling resources and helping bring bread to the table and shelter for people, that I see as building kingdom like the early church did. They were building this kingdom. As it progresses, it's going to fill the earth. So, hopefully I didn't lose anybody on that, trying to explain it. Hopefully I was clear, but I'll turn it over.
No, well received on my end. I wanted to read Mark chapter 10. This is what the Messiah said when it comes to rulers. Mark chapter 10, I pick up at verse 41. When the 10 heard this, and I'm reading from a Greek interlinear version of the New Testament. When the 10 heard this, they began to be angry with James and John. So Jesus called them and said to them, "You know that among the Gentiles, those whom they recognize as their rulers lord over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. but it is not so among you. But whosoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant, and whomever wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. And this teaching right here stands out. This is even taught in the Torah. This is something that I tend to notice that we don't see as much in the Hebrew community. And I want to also go to another, let me see, is that Matthew? I think you kind of mentioned it a little earlier, Judah. Let me see. Matthew chapter 18. It was when the disciples had asked the master about who's going to be the greatest here or there. Let me get to it real quick. Forgive me. Matthew chapter 18. And it reads, yes. Here it is. And at the same time, Matthew chapter 18, verse 1. At the same time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? He called a child whom he put among them and said, truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Whomever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And the thing is that we have to be born again, or we have to be like children. You have to be willing to learn all over again. We have to forget the ways of this world, like Josh was saying. Like, we're not supposed to be of this world. Christ said himself. He said that we are not. My kingdom is not of this world. He said, live in the world, but don't be part of the world. And for what I see is that I tend to see too much of this way of thinking, like conducting ourselves like the nations. If we're supposed to be Israel that the Most High had called, we are not supposed to be conducting ourselves the way the nations have. Just like in Matthew chapter 5, Christ said himself, he said, we are the salt of the earth. And if we have lost our flavor, then we're no good. So these things about nation building, like Josh said earlier, we're not instructed to build a nation within a nation. We are just supposed to keep the commandments and be that light to those who are in darkness and bring people into the fold. That's what we're supposed to be doing. I think we get a tad bit carried away and we get beside ourselves when we're so focused on having our own this and our own that, which is nothing wrong with wanting to live better and eat better and all those things. But I think we put too much emphasis into that, and we're forgetting the substance of the teachings that Moses and Christ taught. But I just want to read those two chapters. I mean, those two Matthew 18 and Mark chapter 10, because it lines up with what you brothers are bringing out. But anyone want to expound on those real quick, if you would like?
Yeah, I would. Just the humility factor of it, where it says that you have to approach this thing like a child. Like a learning child, because a lot of us come, puffed up. The whole thing he was trying to teach them in order for them to even be a part of the kingdom is to approach this with humility. Children, the average child is like a sponge. They can be taught. They can be cultivated. That's how we're supposed to approach this thing. We can't approach the kingdom with a know-it-all attitude. Like I'm better than the next person attitude. Humility is another thing that's not being taught enough among Israel. Everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be the king of the mountain. Like I said, Debate Talk for You is a perfect example of this when it comes to me personally, because 99.9% of the people who challenge me to debate are doing it because they're trying to be the greatest among the Debate Talk for You kingdom. I just use that word. That's what it's all about. We have turned this, like we've been saying all night, into a rap battle or a hip-hop beat or whatever you want to call it. But we're all supposed to be approaching this with a childlike innocence and mindset. Like, we can be taught. We can still learn. You know, when you got a child, you know, the average child, you know, every child's not the same, but the average child, when you teach your child something, they absorb it. They take it. You know, most children, like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, they don't come to their parents like, oh, I know more than you. No, there's a few of them out there that do, but most of them are like, well, you know, that's what my mama said. That's what my daddy said. That's what it is. You know, they don't come all challenging. They don't come like, oh, I'm better than this next child, or I'm better than my mom, or I'm better than my dad. No, that's why he said we have to receive this as a child, and the one that is really operating in the spirit of the kingdom, we're supposed to serve. A lot of people don't even know that the definition of the word minister means to serve. You hear a lot of people say, I'm minister this, I'm minister that. I remember Minister DeAndre, God rest his soul, he used to emphasize this a lot because that was like his label, Minister DeAndre. And he understood that that's what that meant. You're here to serve the people, not to serve yourself. That's why Jesus said that he that is greatest among you be your servant. You know what I'm saying? And if you look that up in the Greek, it even has the word waiter there in some Greek interlinear Bibles. Like, you're supposed to be like you're waiting tables. You follow what I'm saying? Now, I know don't nobody want to sign up and do that, but that's the mindset we're supposed to be. People used to try to flip it, because I have to call myself the people's teacher. Say, you're the people. You're trying to say you're the people's champion. No. I call myself the people's teacher because that's who I'm here to serve, the people. Or you can call me the people's servant. That's who I'm here to serve. I am supposed to work for y'all. That's who we're supposed to be here to take care of. Not to promote self, not to show how great I am, but to glorify the Most High and His Son and to serve y'all. That's what I'm here to do. I'm providing a service. A lot of us don't understand that. A lot of us want to do this so the people can serve us. You know, serve us money, serve our ego, give us some fame, some glory. This is the reason why we got this whole, oh, I need to take Josh out. I need to take KOJ out. You know, I'm better than him. Hey, Sal, I want to debate Josh on this. Hey, Sal, I want to debate Judah on that. Call them up. Make it happen. Everybody's throwing out challenges because everybody's trying to be the greatest among men when they're supposed to be trying to serve the people, when everybody really should be calling Sal up saying things like, hey, Sal, can you reach out to Josh and ask him if we could try to do a show together where we're serving the people, you know, not unlike we're doing tonight with Brother B.A. and Judah. That's what we're doing tonight, a show where we're serving the people. This ain't about me. This ain't about Judah. It ain't about B.A. It ain't even about Debate Talk for You, per se. It's about us coming out and trying to serve the people things that they have not been getting. And that's how you're supposed to look at it. You want to be a teacher? Fine. You want to be over an organization? Fine. But understand that when you decided to do that, you decided to become a servant in the same sense as if you're waiting tables. You know, you go to a restaurant and a waiter comes up to you and says, how can I help you? That's the mindset you're supposed to have. But too many people flip it. They want to be kings. That's why everybody is the great teacher this, the God that. Everybody want to have some type of high opinion of self. You follow what I'm saying? And that's a dead giveaway. You know what I'm saying? If you walk on the scene and you got like this name that is, you know, promoting you, you're not brother whoever. You're the God this, or you're the divine chosen one that. That already let me know that you don't miss the mission. You don't miss the point of the mission, because you're supposed to be brother or sister whoever, and you're supposed to be here to serve the people. Even if you call yourself a bishop or an overseer, your job is to oversee the people by serving them. That's who we are. We work for y'all. I don't say this before. I work for the people. Y'all don't work for me. God sent me here to serve y'all, not the other way around. God sent Judah here to serve y'all. B.A. Even Sal is providing a service. But too many of us get sick head, and we think we came to be served. I'm here because I want to be the greatest. No. You need to be trying to serve the people. You need to be asking yourself, what can I do to serve the people better? But I ain't going to get too much off into that. I'll turn it over.
I hear you, brother, and I agree with you 100% on that. What I've noticed is that social media has created a whole bunch of monsters. I think if we didn't have social media, it wouldn't be as bad as it is. But we're not saying it's social media's fault. But from what I noticed, when a lot of brothers or whoever, or they get a camera and they get a Facebook account, or the various things that come with it, it's just a whole nother ball game. But Judah, if you would like to expound on the scriptures I read, you can go ahead, my brother.
As far as the Matthew that you read, is who shall be greatest among them in that? That's
yes, sir. The Matthew 18 and then also Mark chapter 10, when Christ was saying it's the Gentiles that express rulership over each other, but amongst us, that is not so.
Yeah, no, I don't have pretty much what I was saying before. Yeah, actually, those were the text I was making reference to when Jesus of Nazareth was teaching his students there that you can't look at the empire and environment you dwell in and think that the kingdom of God is of the same fabric, and it's not. And so that's what I see happening today, but among the people. But I can't say it's just happening today because I believe what's going on in the days of the Apostle Paul as well. That's why I say you got to renew your mind. You know, it must be renewed. And you got to be born again. The stuff that we have learned and the attitudes and the way we look at things is really distorted. You know, it's been ingrained in us more than what we believe. And we got to go to repentance to get this out. So we won't be like those brothers who the Messiah had to reprove and tell them, man, look, man, let's not be like the nations. The greatest among you shall be the servant among you. And that's what's needed. I mean, it's really needed. If you look on where we are today, and we can get so wrapped up in our environments from this idea of superiority to the idea of the world is just about us. I was listening to a guy, and he was making. I won't be long-winded on it, but just a brief point. He was making reference about reading about the ships that was to come on the earth, and he was talking about the famines. He said, well, that's coming. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that's here. You have to get out the box. The majority of the planet is in starvation mode. The majority. What happens is in our environment in the rich countries of the West, whether it's Western Europe or over here in America or Canada, we sit in the seat of the beast where, you know, a lot of luxury, a lot of privilege comes, a lot of comfort. That's just simply not how the rest of the world lives. And sometimes we get so wrapped up that we don't realize that our activity or lack of activity. Like what Martin was trying to bring the point where when good people just lie and do nothing, you know, their goodness isn't worth anything. And we don't realize that the suffering of the masses of the people throughout the globe is because of our habits and our luxuries. And we do have the ability to do something about it. You hear me, Brother B.A., talk about things like that where people had this attitude, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We just got to wait till the Lord come. I went to Pittsburgh to do a lecture, and one of the guys was out there. He worked for the city. He was an African, so-called African American, and he said the same thing. And I said, man, you know, well, you work for the city. You know, that wouldn't have been possible 50 years ago. You know, in fact, it took someone to say that they can do something about it. That's why you're working for the city today. people today, we have pensions and jobs and paychecks or whatever crumbs that they threw at us. It wouldn't have been possible, though, if Harriet Tubman and the rest of the abolitionists decided not to do anything and wait for the Lord to come back. And I think that we have to go beyond where, our little comfort and environments and really come together and really get into this love and this unity, like you call this meeting tonight to discuss, because we are accomplices, whether we want to believe it or not, of a lot of suffering throughout the world, and we can definitely do more than what we're doing. But as individualists, it's downright impossible. And that's why I believe the Messiah was talking about coming together, serving one another. The Spirit of truth is going to reveal to you what needs to be done. Like Saul knew something needed to be done. And I'm going to close out with this. And why I'm bringing him up is because I wanted people to understand this in real time. The Apostle Paul was a citizen of the Roman Empire. He could travel all throughout Rome. He went through all of the rich cities, Corinth and everything else. And Jerusalem at that time was just a colonized territory. It was pretty much like a Puerto Rico or Jamaica. And he realized that the church, their obligation was to help them in a Puerto Rico, for example. And this is, again, what I was mentioning earlier, where he started, him and the companions and the brothers and sisters and elders in the church worked hard. They had to, in order to continually bring goods and services to the brothers and sisters in Jerusalem, for example, when they had faced the famine. So he went beyond the world of Corinth. He went beyond the world of the imperial Rome where they were comfortable. And I believe that's what we need to do today. And those passages, I believe, laid a foundation. The passages that you read, they laid a foundation for that. In fact, I believe this whole discussion we're having tonight lays the foundation for it. That once we tap into this love and this affection to do right by the Almighty, it's gonna compel us. It's gonna thrust us into this world of, man, wait a minute, look what's happening around us. Look the shoes I got on or the food I'm about to eat tonight. Don't you know that the people who brought it here, they probably not eating? Probably can't even afford to eat the same food. So, I believe we need to really dig deep. Because on that day when he said, many shall come and say, we did this in your name and we did that in your name, he said, I never knew you. And I think we really need to dig deep and touch into the fundamentals of the kingdom of God and what it really means. But I turn it over to you, brother.
Thanks again, Judah. I most definitely appreciate it. And I wanted to read something which stands out. I'm going to go to John chapter 13, and this is about ministry serving. This is also the spirit of Torah as well. I'm going to go to John chapter 13. This is something that I know the brothers in Buffalo have taught. You guys have taught on this various times. I've participated in some of the classes online and heard this teaching. Zadok has touched on it, Judah and Brother Tim. You guys have all touched on this concept right here. John chapter 13, the St. John. And we're going to pick up at verse 4. Verse 3, rather. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus answered, you do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand. Peter said to him, you would never wash my feet. Jesus answered, unless I wash you, you have no share with me. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, one who was bathed does not need to wash, except for the feet, but is entirely clean, and you are clean, though not all of you. For he knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, not all of you are clean. Verse 12, after he had washed their feet, he put on his robe and had returned to the table and said to them, do you not know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Wow. And one thing I have noticed, now I'm not saying that we're commanded to wash each other's feet, but the point here is that we should put ourselves in this position of serving one another in the kingdom of the Most High. This is what it takes. If the master teacher can humble himself, get on his knees and wash his students' feet, we should be able to put ourselves in this same position. And we can also, now we're not going to sit back and say it's written in the Torah to wash each other's feet. We know that. But this type of spirit, this type of love, this is what the Torah also commands, to serve one another. And Christ commanded, like he said earlier, like I was saying earlier, to love one another as I have loved you. And this is something that I don't see enough. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it. What I'm saying is, as a whole, overall, we see a few brothers doing it, not washing feet, but they're putting themselves in this position to love and serve others who are in need. And I think as a Hebrew community or Israelites or whatever we personify to call ourselves, we need to have this type of attitude so we can allow the Spirit of the Most High to impose His will upon us. That's what it means to be meek. And, Sal, I know we got a few callers on standby. You want to, but before we do that, my brothers, you guys want to go ahead and address the rest of the callers?
Oh yeah, I'm willing. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm for it.
Yeah, I love to hear from the callers. I love to hear from the callers what they got to say. You know that.
Oh yeah, most def. I'm already doing it, bro. All right, Sal, let's take it away.
All right, back to the phone lines. Once again, the number is 319-527-6239. If you're new to the show, anybody can call in. You just got to dial that number and press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation. Only rule that we have is no foul language. You got to keep it clean, keep it professional as you call into the show. Once again, that number is 319-527-6239. If you're already calling in and you have a question, simply press number 1, and we'll add you into the conversation, or send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's debatetalk, the number 4, the letter U, @gmail.com. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 716-541. You're live in air.
Thank you, Sam, for taking my call. And I want to say thank you to your guest tonight. Believe it or not, I am really speechless, okay? You guys are really on point. I mean, I've heard your segments before, but it seems like you three seem to be able to gel. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm just saying, you should make this segment a part 2, really. Thank you.
Oh, man. Thank you, Sister Doris. I appreciate your words. Brothers, you can go ahead and expound if you would like.
Would you like to go first, Judah?
No, sir. You go.
Oh, okay. Not really anything to expound on other than, praise God that we're being edified by what we're talking about, and I have no problem with doing a future segment like this or touching on an entirely different topic.
Yeah, again, said it right. We thank the Almighty that people are being edified, and I thank you, sister or mother. My first time hearing from her. It appears that you know her, Brother B.A., but I appreciate the call in, and thank you for the encouraging comments, and I'm willing as well, whatever we really need to do to help the movement, the kingdom, the gospel of Christ. I'm willing to do that.
Most definitely. Praise the Most High. It's humbling to hear those words coming from Sister Doris. And Sister Doris is a regular caller, and she's always expounding, and she's always sharing her wisdom and knowledge, and we appreciate her for that. All right, Sal, let's go back to the phone line.
All right, once again, that number is 319-527-6239. Apparently, everybody else just listening to the show. We appreciate the family that's tuned in, taking down them notes, being edified by the content being displayed right here on Debate Talk Radio. So I guess I'll notify you, BA, if there's any more callers. Press number 1. You can continue.
All right. Well, man, before we went to the caller, I was building on the Messiah washing the feet of his students, or the master teacher washing the feet of his students. And this is something that I pray that we tend to see more often. Most high willing, as time progresses, we see growth. And we see this happen more. We see that more instituted, not literally washing feet, but the type of service and attitude and spirit. So over the years, we've seen the Hebrew Israelite community grow, have its ups and downs, have its setbacks, and move forward. What are the improvements that you two brothers have seen up to this day, from when you first started, as things are moving along up to this day? What are the improvements that you guys have seen personally? I know you can go ahead, Josh.
Thank you, B.A. I can definitely say that a lot of people are starting to see and understand that these back and forths on social media is not really getting us anywhere. It's not helping the movement at all. You follow what I'm saying? Because I'm all for hashing things out in the form of discussion, in the form of a debate. Really doesn't make any difference to me. I prefer to teach it because, more information gets out. But at the end of the day, as long as truth and edification is the product, I'm cool. But I can definitely see that a lot of people are starting to realize that this back and forth needs to stop. But it seems like the more people starting to realize it, the more people keep doing it, because it's not really helping people. I don't believe in pointless debates. I don't believe in going back and forth about stuff continually and nothing's changing. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to that. A lot of people is tired of just the talk. We need to start seeing more action in the community. And when I say that, I don't mean we need to all form a group under a label and just storm the communities. You know what I'm saying? Like throwing a barbecue or something. I remember ISUPK, they did a barbecue, and I'm not knocking that, because if I was up there and they let me, I definitely would have partook of some of the barbecue. So I ain't knocking the barbecue. I'm like, oh, he ain't on the barbecue. I would have ate just like everybody else. I'm keeping it 100. But, I mean, something that demonstrates as individuals that we're really trying to impact the community. Just the way you carry yourself, the way you try to help the homeless, the way you try to help a single mother or a single father, with their finances, things of that nature. That's what we can do to better it. And I'm seeing more emphasis when I go online, like some of these Hebrew Israelite camps, they're evolving. They're tired of the nonsense, because people who really want to facilitate change, those people who really desire that stuff, when they see it's not really happening, they're going to get frustrated and they're going to try to find somewhere where it is. And I think a lot of people want to see true change facilitated among the people. I think a lot of people truly desire to do that, but not enough people want to really roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty, because it's a lot of work. We're talking about trying to resurrect a spiritually dead earth. You know what I'm saying? That's a pretty big undertaking. A lot of people don't understand that. And when people start seeing that, hey, it's a lot of work involved in this, a lot of people say, it's just more entertaining to start YouTube and social media beefs. That's fun. Nobody really wants to do the real work. But I'm seeing that improve just from what's going on personally with the ministry that I oversee. Like, we've maxed out in the amount of people who can call into our show the last month and a half. You know what I'm saying? The last 5 weeks in a row. If it happens tomorrow, it'll be 6 weeks. And all of this, ironically, happened after I did my hot seat and a lot of the videos that came out attacking me after that. And I tell people all the time, the more you attack me and AVT, the stronger our ministry becomes. Because before that, I didn't have that number issue with attendance in my class as far as it being too many people that now people can't call in. People texting me and emailing me, telling me I tried to call in, I couldn't get in. Did you have a show going on? What? But all of that happened after people who, for whatever reason, want to make an enemy out of me started attacking me. So people who obviously flocked toward my direction after seeing the attacks are obviously people who are tired of the talk. They're tired of the nonsense. They want to see this word in action. Brother KC or Brother Jeff Lewis, I forget which one because they both said, I don't know who originated this term. These are brothers at ADT, you know. They say we supposed to, they always say this, and I've adopted this mantra. We're supposed to learn it to live it. Not learn it to debate it, not learn it to argue it, not learn it to show off that we have learned it, but we're supposed to learn it to live it. And I think a lot of people have began, this is improving, I see, a lot of people don't start to wake up and seeing that a lot of people are not learning this stuff to live it. And they're starting to gravitate toward organizations that are actually trying to facilitate change in their personal lives. So that's the improvement that I've seen. What are your thoughts, Judith?
You know, I don't really have much to say. I can't really answer that I really can't answer that at the moment because I have really been out of the loop of the Israelite community. Besides, there's a few things I may hear on YouTube. So the direction that our ministry is in, I'm in like a different circle of people. More or less, you know, like I've been putting myself around more social activism. And I haven't really seen the positive that's going on in the Hebrew Israelite community. So I can't say it's not there. I just, I'm sure it is some what Brother Josh is testifying of, but I really can't give you much on that one because I'm not on social media and Facebook, so I'm really not in that loop. Probably Brother Zadok or Brother Timothy, other brothers or sisters who in our circle in our school probably can answer that better than I could at this moment. So I apologize about that, my brother. I'm gonna have to turn it over to you.
Oh, there's no issue at all, Judah. I know you're always working, and I know being around you for the last couple of years, I know you're more into the social activism part. I most definitely understand, and I know your mind is focused on other matters which are needed. So most definitely, my brothers, no offense at all. It's all good. But to let everybody know who's listening, we have 15 minutes on the air. We have 15 minutes left on the air before we go into the overtime. So if you'd like to call in, the number is 319-527-6239. Again, 319-527-6239. If you don't call in within the 15-minute window, you will not be able to call in and enjoy the rest of the dialogue. Again, I would like to thank you, brothers, for coming out this evening out of your busy schedules and expounding and sharing your knowledge and your wisdom, what the Most High has revealed to you. Is there any other points, questions, comments, or observations personally that you guys would like to share or bring out?
Judah, would you like to expound, or would you like to?
Yeah, if you can expound. I would like to hear. Yeah, so you go for it.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief too. You know, first of all, you know, you got to thank the Most High God of Israel for Showtime. You know, and I tell people all the time, man, you know, this is my home. Debate Talk for You is my home. You know, I feel like that I'm one of the originators, not the originator, but one of the original people that helped make it what it is today, to help get it to the point it is today. And I just want to encourage more people to, you know, show support for Sal. You know what I'm saying? Donate. I mean, this is, as far as I know, the most respectable debate platform on social media, hands down. Sal is a stand-up guy. He's a patient brother. He's a forgiving brother, you know, and he just, in my opinion, just deserves a lot more support. I mean, you know, I go on Sarnetta TV, and Sarnetta, no bones about it, you know, he obligates people, you know, to donating on a monthly basis. You know, not much, though, you know, like $5. And I'm pretty sure more people donate more than that. You know, and I would just like to extend that same request to the Debate Talk for You audience. I mean, a lot of us spend $5 a day, you know what I'm saying, just on eating, you know, whatever, you know, or $1. You know, Sal ain't going to turn his nose down if he see $1 pop up in the donation. You know what I'm saying? If that's all you can give, that's all you can give. But I just want to encourage more people to donate toward Debate Talk for You, because Debate Talk for You has personally helped the ABT ministry grow. I can't even count how many times people call in on my show and say, oh, I heard you on Debate Talk for You, brother, and I got the information, and here I am in your class. And I know that Sal's platform has helped elevate attendance and notoriety in other ministries too. You follow what I'm saying? You know, so y'all need to show a little bit more love. I'm not getting on anybody's case, you know, but I'm saying that, you know, this man is helping you grow. You know what I'm saying? And when my ministry grows, you know, I'm not trying to make it all about money, but when my ministry grows, that makes more people donate to my ministry. But that's being made possible because of the notoriety I'm getting on Sal's platform. So, you know, y'all got to just show the man some love. You know what I'm saying? Sal does a lot. Like I said, he's a stand-up dude. He's forgiving. He's overlooked a lot of spiteful things that people have said and done to him with as much as a simple I'm sorry. And you know what I'm saying? So it ain't too many people I know who just forgive stuff that easily like that the way he does. You follow what I'm saying? So, you know, if y'all could just try to become committed to donating at least once a month, it don't got to be the same amount. You know, donate and he didn't put me up to this. I don't want nobody, I don't want his Sal told Josh to say, no, this is what the Most High put on my spirit to say. That's the God honest truth. You know, I think y'all should just become committed to donating every month $1, $5, $2, you know, because the amount of people we have tuning in, and this man lets people come on and they use him. I mean, I don't like it to sound like that because I use them too, but I'm not deceitfully using them. But we all take advantage of Sal's generosity, and he gets so little in return. You know what I'm saying? He takes, like BA mentioned, that we take time out of our busy schedule to do this, you know, which we do. But for me, it's Friday night, it's the Sabbath anyway, so I ain't really busy anyway. You follow what I'm saying? But Sal does this almost daily. You follow what I'm saying? He does this almost daily, and it would, you know, behoove us to understand that this brother does do a lot. You follow what I'm saying? To help other people, you know, expand their ministry. You know, so I just wanted to put that out there and basically just say I enjoyed doing this show tonight with you, Judah. But I got to ask this question, though, because I don't feel right unless I ask this. You're not the same Judah that I had in mind, are you, Judah? Because there's another Judah at the KOJ that I was thinking about. No disrespect to you or taking nothing away from you, but are you the same Judah that debated Carl Albert that time, Judah?
You serious? You playing around with me, man, or are you asking a real question?
I'm asking a real question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, bro.
That's funny.
Whoa! What's all the background though?
That's BA. He got a live house, I think. Yeah, it's me who debated Kyle Albert. Yeah.
Yo, your voice sounds so different. That's why I asked. You know what I'm saying? That's why I asked. You know.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's me. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I got somebody text me like, he sounds different. Is that the same? I said, there's only one Judah I know of. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why I asked. I'm like, there another Judah? You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's all good. You laughing at me. I mean, I'm laughing to myself too. But
well,
I
don't know what they mean by different. I'm probably relaxed. You know what I mean? Just it's like in a peaceful environment. I'm really not in battle
I'm used
mode.
to the line. I'm used to the line of Judah. So that's what it is. Then you know. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't never
relaxed.
seen you this chill. I ain't never seen you this chill before.
Huh?
I've never seen you this chill before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I feel I'm around peace at the moment, so I'm just relaxed right now, feeling pretty good.
Praise God. So like I was saying too, for me, because I don't think anybody else is on the phone, but just in case they are, but for me, I'm just kind of winding down. It's been an honor and a privilege to do this show with you. I mean, I don't know if Zadok told you, but I've always respected you. You know what I'm saying? I've always kind of been what you'll call a secret fan, even though it wasn't too secret because I told him about it. And and this ain't taking away nothing from Zadok because he's a fantastic teacher too, in my opinion. But I've always wanted to do something with you first at some point, and then eventually the whole KOJ. But I just wanted to let everybody know that, I got a lot of respect for this guy. I follow his work, you know what I'm saying? And as I said before, if I wasn't doing my own thing, I would more than likely be studying under him. I think these are some stand-up brothers. We had our issues in the past too, which most people who I've been on the show with, that's just the story of Josh, issues in the past. But I've always respected and loved the work of the KOJ. I mean, them brothers be putting it in. They were the first people. Let me just throw a little history out here, Judah, while I'm at it. Zadok probably remembers this. They were the first people who inspired me to actually start wearing fringes because me and my late brother-in-law, David, God rest his soul, we were already looking in it and talking about doing it, but wasn't really quite sure. And then Zadok came down there and he was wearing some, and also with brother Elijah, who texted me, by the way, Judah, while we was doing this. He's one of the callers that called in. I didn't recognize his voice either. I told him that too. Yeah, I guess I'm off my game tonight with these voices. Everybody sounded different to me. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't even know that was him. When I texted, I said, I don't even recognize your voice. That was you. But he'll tell you that he was down there when him and Zadok was wearing the fringes, and I was asking questions about them. So the KOJ, and I tell everybody they were wearing fringes before I was, and when I saw them doing it, they just kind of just gave me that extra push to just go ahead and start doing it and teaching it and wearing it. You know what I'm saying? So the KOJ, for everybody at ABT listening, they were the ultimate inspiration behind why I teach the fringes. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just considering it and thinking about doing it, and then when I came down and had the discussion with Zadok, and if he's listening, he can call in and testify to this, and Brother Elijah, if he's still on, they'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why I started teaching fringes. So I've been learning from them. You know what I'm saying? They did another class not too long ago about birthdays. The KOJ was also teaching against, y'all do teach against birthdays. I want to make sure I got it right. Right, Judah?
Yeah.
Pagan practice. Yes.
That's right.
Y'all were teaching that before I was. And I never forget my fiance, Lisi, she saw y'all teaching a lesson on that, and she brought it to my attention about the birthday thing because, we teach against the holy days. You follow what I'm saying? I mean, not against, but the holidays. We teach against the holidays, right?
Okay.
And she was like, well, what about the birthdays, right? And then she told me about a video she saw y'all doing, and then I looked in. I think y'all went in Josephus and everything. Am I right? And y'all went to Josephus showing what he was saying about it in the video. This was years ago, by the way. I don't even know if the video's still up.
Yeah.
And that also inspired me to look into it and start teaching people about the pagan origin of birthdays. And I teach that too. So I'm not ashamed to admit that I have learned things from these brothers. It's another class that Zadok did a while ago about what was it concerning? It had something to do with the sacrifice and the return of the sacrificial law or something like that, or something in Ezekiel. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember the specifics, but I did a class that was inspired off of that too. And also, Brother Elijah, I think he's he's in Washington, right, Judah? That's where he is right now. Is he still in Washington?
I don't know if he moved back to. He go back and forth to work, so I don't know if he's there tonight. But he's back in New York.
Right, but he did a class on Debate Talk for You a while back about the spiritual aspects of the dietary law, and I had already been looking into that too, because I was like, there's something else to this, and then I listened to his class, and that kind of gave me some ideas on how to expound on that, and later on, I'm going to do a class dealing with the spiritual aspects of it too. I'm not ashamed to admit that, I be checking out the KOJ stuff, and it inspires the stuff that I do, you know what I'm saying, here and there. But I can put that out there because I'm not ashamed to be like, I got all this pride, like, oh, everything I got, it comes from me. You know what I'm saying? No, I've been checking them out for a while. You know what I'm saying? I got a great deal of respect for the KOJ staff. You know what I'm saying? Especially Judah. So, I'm just throwing in a plug here. Make sure y'all check these brothers out because, I endorse them. You know what I'm saying? I listen to them, when I get a chance. You know what I'm saying? I like their spirit. These are some of the few people I think actually care about the people they serve. You know what I'm saying? They ain't just, trying to, show off how much knowledge they have. And I got to ask you another question too, Judah. Do you remember that video you did when you was going against the virgin birth? I think not ISUPK, but IUIC was teaching it. Do you remember that video?
I believe so. Was I talking in the background?
Like what you were doing, you would play some footage from their video, and then you'll pause it, and then you'll expound. Man,
I remember.
Me and Lisi, we was watching that video together, and we were just rolling laughing because the way you were editing the footage, it's like you were actually talking to them while they were like, nope, stop, no, you can't say that, no, don't do that. We were rolling, but you were killing them though. Because it was that video where you were breaking down how they were saying that
Mary had
Joseph and Mary got hot and bothered.
Oh yeah.
He was saying they got hot and heavy. That's what the dude was saying.
Hot and heavy.
Yeah, they were saying that hot and heavy. And I was watching that video, and man, I was rolling. We were both rolling. We was like, oh my goodness, so it was like a voiceover video you were doing. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause we couldn't see you, and like you were probably like, oh, wait, stop. No. It's like you were actually talking to them as they were doing it. And man, we enjoyed it. It wasn't just entertainment. We were learning, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all break it down pretty much the same way I do. You know what I'm saying? But man, I was on the ground laughing. She was laughing too. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to bring that out there.
You took it back, and that was some years ago. But yeah, actually, yes. I think that one is still up on one of them YouTube sites we got up there, but yes, I remember that.
That thing was funny right there. Y'all need to check that one out because I like the way you broke it down, how you were saying that in order for you to accept their interpretation of Joseph being the biological father of Jesus, you would have to say that the angel was lying when he said Mary was blessed and highly favored. And that they were righteous. You went to Matthew and you went to Luke, and you show how the Bible describes Joseph as a just man and Mary as a righteous person. But in order to accept their interpretation, they would have to say Mary was a liar, Joseph was a liar because he know that he impregnated Mary, and then he tried to put her away, knowing that if he did that, that'll make her like a whore. I mean, you were just going into a lot of detail on it. That's one of my classic favorites. You know what I'm saying? Mainly because of the way you breaking it down and the way you just edited the footage, how you rewinded and no, stop, no, you can't say that, you can't do that, and I was just like, oh my goodness, we just had a ball. So I always wanted to tell you about that one, and just let the people check that out if they get a chance. I mean, I think they'll greatly enjoy that. If you can get a link to Sal, they can check it out. He'll post it. But that's pretty much it for me. I appreciate you doing this with me, Judah. Shouts out to the KLJ, Zadok, Brother Elijah. Hey, Brother Elijah, if you still listening, I want to get you on here and do something with you too, man. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate you putting this together, BA. If there's nobody else on the phone, turn it over to you, Judah.
Yeah, man, I can't express the appreciation I have and the love that you're showing and giving to the brothers and sisters over here at the Knesset. The same. One thing I do want to say though is that Zadok did talk to me. Well, we talk often, as a matter of fact, about different things, and he mentioned about the conversation you and him had and things you were saying. Like I say, man, it's humbling. But he did mention that you had expression that we had some kind of animosity in the beginnings. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you said we may have had issues. No, not really. I mean, I think we have fun. We disagreed on different things, and we may get a little aggravated, but at the end of the day, I believe we approached it and walked away from the differences. We may have viewed different things. I would say most of the stuff we agree with. Most of the stuff we pretty much are in agreement with as we. I tell you, I'll be messing stuff up, don't I? And what we believe, and in our teachings. But we have some different. We have had some differences, but it wasn't any issues, man.
Praise God.
I don't want you to, ever get that impression that any kind of animosity or hate and this and that. No, it never was about that. We was out there, we learning, we all learning. I've plenty of things that I used to believe and found out. No, I got to be corrected on that. That's when I began to really learn how much I didn't know. You know what I mean? You and I come from a class where we had to re-examine a lot of things in which we were taught. And had to, make, but yeah, never. It was never no type of real war. Like, man, this brother over here, I can't. No, nothing like that. He was like a younger brother. But Zadok and I, one thing on YouTube, but I mean, we've been we over 20 years. We've been around, and we can have, for lack of better words, people could say, man, we can get kind of silly and joke and this and that, but to really take it to the heart and be mad at people, I don't really think we do that. Are we capable? Of course. We're human beings. But at the end of the day, no, man, we laugh and tease. And I remember I was calling you a rookie, and I remember you said, well, if I was a rookie, then I had to be the rookie of the year. It was funny. So we had fun. When I heard that, I was cracking up. That really that was funny. So, we went back and forth, and, at the end of the day, I do believe that for the most part, we are on the same page. Like I said, I hear you out there defending the Messiah and dealing with the doctrines of Jesus of Nazareth. And one time I was tempted to call in, but you was handling it well. Really wasn't nothing for me to say. So I think you're out there fighting that fight, getting the doctrine out there of the gospel and of who Christ is, Him being the Messiah. And yeah, man, keep up the good work, and Most High willing, we come back to the table and do more events like this, because I think we do. We need to do that. We really need to do that to really be united and not always kind of discuss and debate every now and again, but every now and again, for the most part, we got to do this to show that we can agree to disagree, and also show how many more things we agree on, So I appreciate it. It's an honor that you all called me to the table tonight, and say, peace and blessings to you all who's searching. And so I'll turn it back over to BA and see what you got to say.
Man, just to hear you brothers go back and forth and build, man, it's a beautiful thing. And I just praise the Most High, and Most High willing, we get to see more of this, not just amongst you brothers, but amongst all of Israel. But Sal was saying that we had maybe 1-2 more callers. So if you guys don't mind, let's get these callers in real quick, and then we're going to call it the show.
All right, let me bring up. Yeah, got Judah.
No, I said go for it.
Okay. Let me bring back 719-534. You still there? 719-534?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah,
I think it's just No, I just think it was a good discussion tonight.
Don't do that.
We've been part of Knesset, Elder Judah and Elder Zadok and even Elder Josh too, like kind of debate. Like I've sat in rooms with them as they've done those things, and this is kind of like the first time I've ever seen anybody like just kind of sit and say, hey, we agree on things too, and we're not like hating each other, and it's not like there's some type of war. We're supposed to be fighting for the same thing. So it's a great thing, and hopefully more things and even better things to come.
Praise God.
All right, let's go down the line. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 530-813. You're live there.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep, good.
Just want to say it was a good show tonight. And, so I guess, I just want to say blessings to all you guys up there. And BA, out of Sacramento. I'm over here in Yuba City, so I'm not too far away from you guys, or from you anyway. I guess my question is for Josh. I listen to, I like to watch his videos and his Sabbath classes and stuff, and I think he's a pretty good teacher. So I guess my question is for Josh. You guys can hear me, right?
Say that again.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, man, as I was listening to the last Shabbat class that Brother Josh did, I noticed that he had the reggae music going in the background, and I listen to a lot of reggae music, and it kind of got me to studying the claims of like Rastafarians. And so I was wondering, like, if you've ever investigated or done any studies to see, what do you think about, like, the kings of Ethiopia of the Solomonic dynasty who claim patrilineal descent from Solomon and Sheba through their, supposedly their son Menelik. I got some scriptures here that, I'm sure like 2 Samuel chapter 7, where it seems to be sort of like he says, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish his throne forever. And I'm not going to read everything, but then so there was a covenant that was made. And we know Israel had 9 dynasties and Judah had 1, and Christ was born of Mary, but Mary was not of the lineage of Solomon. You see, Jesus was actually a descendant of Nathan, who was another son of David. So I don't know if the throne can legally pass to Christ.
His call actually dropped. We apologize. His call actually dropped. But
I meant to reach out to the brother because where he stays at, I stay right across town from him, so I was trying to reach out, but Most High would I can get back in touch with that brother. But go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I was saying that I thought he was pausing to collect his thoughts, and then I was just like, okay, here it comes, wait for it, and then after the call dropped him. It sounds like he was asking me. It's not like he was asking me, about the legend. About Solomon having a child with the Queen of Sheba, and that child going back to Ethiopia, and Haile Selassie allegedly being a descendant of that child, and that child Menelik, I think his name was Menelik, something like that, came back, got the Ark of the Covenant, took it back to Ethiopia. I've looked into that, and there's no concrete scripture evidence or even historical evidence that support that legend. Now, I'm not writing it off as completely impossible. I'm just saying I don't teach that. As far as the reggae gospel music that you hear, that is the influence of Lisi, my fiance. She's Jamaican. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why you hear a lot of the reggae gospel. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with us being Rasta or Rastafarian or anything like that. And I myself, I love Jamaican or reggae music. You know, so I enjoy it quite a bit. You know, and I love gospel music. So the fusion of the two is, you know, the best for me. But I've looked into that, and, you know, they said they got the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia right now. It's hidden somewhere, like I think they said in a temple or in a church in Ethiopia or something like that. I mean, they've identified the place, but nobody has actually laid eyes on it. They're not allowed to look at it. You know what I'm saying? They won't show it to anybody. It's kind of like, you know, I got this, believe I got it, but there's no way under any circumstance I can show you any evidence that I got this, but I most definitely got this. So it's kind of like you're making a claim, a strong claim, that you don't want to prove. And I always feel like strong claims require strong evidence. That's how I look at it. If you make a big claim, you got to have some big evidence to back it up. And so far, you just telling me I got it in my house. That's not good enough for me. You know, as far as the Ark of the Covenant part. But if you got any thoughts on that, Judah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I believe Judah and them did a lesson on that on one of the YouTube channels, and that was the actual first teaching that I had saw the brothers in Buffalo do a couple of years back in 2013, I believe it was. But I'm sorry, Judah, go right ahead.
Really? You check that out?
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I think it was, man, one of the first. That's on Zadok Ben Israel's site. That was one of the ones when we were having some fun. We first started getting on YouTube, man. I know it's on Zadok Ben Israel's site, but yeah, we touched on it a little bit. And pretty much like you said, you know, we sort of made a mockery of the legend, if you will, because we didn't see how the Ark of the Covenant could be stolen up under the nose of Levites. And those guys were on point. You know, it wasn't no back door to the tabernacle or the temple. And but we sort of bring out, it was brief, but we sort of bring out where we lean more towards the Second Maccabees, I believe, when they said Jeremiah hid that ark before Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the cave, you know, whether that's true or not, we
mountain or something.
We sort of lean towards somebody at the house of Israel moving that out before it was destroyed. So it was the same thing. We really never found any really concrete evidence of that actually happening with Menelik. So we don't teach it. We don't support it at all either.
Any more callers, Sal?
Yeah, we have, I think, one more person standing by, person number 1. Someone on social media that's listening to the show said, I guess in reference to what you were saying, the line goes through Nathan. But,
as far as I know.
All right.
Well,
let's
I'll just on expound on that. Jesus had rights to the throne through Mary's side or through Joseph's side. Because remember, and this is something I want to bring out too, about the virgin birth, that a lot of people don't seem to understand. The virgin birth of Jesus Christ in his day is not something that was advertised or even known. You follow what I'm saying? Mary did not go out telling everybody, hey, this is not actually Joseph's baby. This baby is born of the Holy Spirit. Mary did not do that. The New Testament plainly tells you that people thought that Joseph was his actual father. Now, the only way they could think something like that if nobody was telling them that Jesus was born of a virgin. That is something that was revealed later on in the Gospels through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. But it was not an advertised doctrine. Jesus did not go around saying, hey, not only is God my father in a spiritual sense, but he is literally my father because I'm born of a virgin. That's not something that was going on. So people got to understand that from a legal perspective, even if Joseph was not his biological father, he could still inherit the throne because Joseph accepted him as his sons. We forget sometimes that Abraham was about to leave his entire inheritance to his slave Eleazar until God told him, you're going to have a son one day. He was going to leave it all to a slave. You follow what I'm saying? And the throne is the part of an inheritance. It's a kingly inheritance. So people forget and don't even understand that. People like, well, if Jesus was born of a virgin, why isn't it all throughout the Gospels? It's only in Matthew and Luke. Why Paul didn't talk about it? Why Peter didn't talk about it? Because it is not, number one, something essential to salvation. We forget sometimes that Jesus did not even advertise the fact that he was the Messiah. He told people to keep a lot of things about him being the Messiah secret. When he told Peter, thou art the Christ, when Peter said, you art the Christ, the Mashiach, the Son of God. And if you keep reading, he told them, don't reveal this to anybody till the Son of Man be risen from the dead. When Jesus healed people, Jesus told the people, don't tell anybody I healed you. Jesus tried to keep a low profile, even his messiahship. So the virgin birth, which pales in comparison to the messiahship being pushed. If the messiahship was downplayed until after he died and resurrected, then of course the virgin birth was. So legally and to the public eye, this man was the son of Joseph, and therefore he had right to the throne despite the lineage of Nathan. We got to understand stuff like that. We don't put ourselves in that time frame. I just want to address that on social media.
All right. Apparently, Brother BA phone call just dropped. In the overtime part of the show, so you know what that means. He's unable to call back unless he knows someone that's listening on the phone line right now. So I'm interacting with him. Hopefully he knows somebody that's listening to the show right now so we can get him back on the line. But we do have some more people standing by with some questions or comments. We're going to take only a few more before we wrap it up pretty much. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 706-505. You're live on air.
Yo, what's up, Sal? Yo, this your Hukanon.
What's going on? How you doing?
Yo, I'm good. Hey, what's up, Brother Josh? This is my first time communicating with you.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I like the show, man. I like how y'all build, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that was real positive build. I think what I was trying to say is there's a lot of Christians out there who, you know what I'm saying, when they want to make a display, it's like they want to show the One West type Hebrews, and they want to make a display of them and make them be like if they are the poster boy for what we stand for, what we believe. But I don't see them trying to come and maybe have a sit down with a brother like you or with a brother like BA and show another side to the type of faith that we have, that there are some people out here who are educated, that knows how to speak and know how to agree to disagree and keep it kosher. So that's probably what I would like to see. I would like to see more people like you and Brother BA, you know what I'm saying, what they bring on their platform and have a sit down with instead of always trying to display the negativity or the negative side of the faith, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. I definitely agree with that. And unfortunately, as we know how this world works, people tend to highlight the negativity of certain groups more than the positivity. Like, for instance, with the Catholic Church. And everybody should know how Hebrew Israelites feel about the Catholic Church, just from a doctrinal perspective, right? But because it came out that some priests were molesting little boys, now the world wants to think every priest in there is molesting little boys. And that's just not true, or that the Catholic Church somehow secretly endorses that practice, which they may, but we have to remember that those priests that got caught doing that, they were dismissed. You follow what I'm saying? They were dismissed. And when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite, because the One West Doctrine ones are more on the forefront. These are the guys standing on the corners with bullhorns and microphones and dressed brightly. Hold on 1 second. Let me see who this is. It might be BA because I don't have his number.
All right, like I said, we're trying to work on getting Brother BA back on the phone lines. We're in the overtime part of the show, so he's unable to call in directly. So we're trying to see if there's someone on the phone line that he knows, so he can patch him in via three-way and get him back on as the host of this program. Once again, it's a classic show, though, and, Man Up. If y'all want to check out the Man Up segment regularly, you have to check it out every Wednesday on Debate Talk Radio at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the Man Up segment every Wednesday. This is a special edition tonight. If you want to check it out regularly, every Wednesday on Debate Talk come check it out. Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, you might be expecting a call from DA. He tried to call me, but since I'm already on conference call with Antoine, it wouldn't let me merge him in. It didn't give it the option to show up on my phone. So he's going to try to call you. So if you can put him on your line, I appreciate it. But as I was saying, because these guys are on the forefront, they're hollering at people, they're wearing bright clothes. People think that they represent the majority of the Hebrew faith. So I agree with you. We need to get more segments going like this so the Christian communities can be aware that the One West Doctrine Hebrews actually represent a very small percentage of the Black Hebrew community. I mean, that's just the truth. They're not that big, except for maybe ISUPK. So I agree with you on that, caller. Judah, your thoughts?
No, I don't have any comments. I think you answered it well.
Praise God.
All right. Yeah, I'm actually speaking to B in the background, trying to get him back in. But let's go to one more caller. I'm pretty much gonna, wrap it up. Let's go to 916-747. You're live on air.
Shalom, style debate talk to you, Brother Judah, Brother Josh. This is Sister Ashanti. I was just listening in, and I just wanted to say this is a great show. I love you, brothers. What you stand for, what you do. More shows need to be done like this. This is a great progression for Israel, and I just want to say much blessings to you, and hope this continues. And thank you for coming on the special Man Up segment. We appreciate you. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. Just want to say love y'all and thank y'all for doing this show. It's very much needed. Shalom.
Praise God, sister. Praise God.
Shalom, blessings to you, sister. Good to hear from you. Thanks for the call.
All right, so we can pretty much end it. If y'all want to put some information, like your website information, if you have any classes going on tomorrow or whatever, let's put it out there now. For the people that's listening on the phone, let's go with Brother Judah. You can start first. Anything you want to put out there, you can do that now.
Well, we normally hold classes on at Eastern time at 1 o'clock. Well, I'm sorry, 1:30. We do a law reading, and 3:30 we have an afternoon class where we teach on various topics and subjects. So again, if you wanted to join some of our classes or tune in, you can call 716-885-2289, 716-885-2289, and we can have someone plug you in to get into our live Skype classes. And that's all we have going on at the moment for tomorrow. So appreciate that.
All right, once again, Brother Judah, we appreciate you coming on the platform. Hope that we bring you back real soon. And we'll keep in touch with you, my brother. I appreciate you.
All right, same here. Peace and blessings to you all, and thanks again.
All right. And Brother Josh, let the family know, how they can tune into your show. We have a lot of first-time callers listening, or first-time, people checking out the show. Let people know how they can check out some more classes from you. Go ahead.
All right. Appreciate that, Sal. And let me just thank Judah once again for giving me the privilege of being able to do this class with him, this particular study, much-needed study. And I do definitely look forward to doing more shows like this with him, as well as doing some where we go to war together. I don't think that, you're going to be in chill mode the whole time. You're going to have to bring out that line of Judah side by side with me one of these days. I'm just letting you know that now. But, yeah, we have classes every Saturday or every Shabbat. We typically go on the air at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can call our number. We're on Blog Talk. It's 319-527-6197. Again, that's 319-527-6197. I'm just letting everybody know now because people have been telling me this. You need to call in as soon as you can. You know what I mean? Because the show is filling up. I'm going to have to upgrade to a better package plan like Sal has here, because I think I've maxed out the amount of people who can call in with the current package plan that I have. So I might have to upgrade at some point if I see this consistently happening. But also check out my latest video titled Hotep Hustlers. It's part of a series of videos. It's Volume 1, Hotep Hustlers. It's exposing the lies that the so-called conscious community is telling on the Bible and about Egypt or Kemet. You can check that out at Absolute Bible Truth Ministries on YouTube. Just just put in the search, Absolute Bible Truth Ministries, and type in Hotep Hustlers, Volume 1, Psalms 84 and 11, and Malachi 4 and 2. And just breaking down how they're lying about the whole sun God concept being in the Bible, and that's where our God currently came from. I'm working on a Volume 2. You follow what I'm saying? Make sure you check that out when it comes out. It's going to be showing that the lie that Horus was born of a virgin, and that's where we get our virgin birth story from. I think it's beneficial to a lot of people, not just the Kemetic community learn the truth about that, but also the Hebrew and the Christian community, because a lot of people are falling for that lie, and they're losing faith in the Word of God, and they are becoming basically pagan. So make sure you check out the Hotep Hustlers. You can also support it on GoFundMe. It's the address is GoFundMe.com / Absolute Bible Truth. Again, that's GoFundMe.com / Absolute Bible Truth. And let me just take the time to thank everybody for the donations for the GoFundMe project of the Hotep Hustlers. So if there's nothing else, I've said enough. Thanks again to Judah. Thank you, Sal. Thank you, BA, if you're listening somewhere. And that's it.